Louisville, Texas. Hello there.
Hello, Bruce.
Hi.
What a pleasure it is to talk to you.
Well, I'm pleased that you did.
I feel like I should be able to put you on my resume. Or Talknet.
Feel free. What's on your mind?
Okay, I'm thinking about selling one of my businesses. I've got two.
What kind of business?
Video rental.
How's it going?
Oh, it's doing very well.
Why do you want to sell?
Me and my partner are both from Oklahoma, and I'm down here in Texas.
Where is he, in Oklahoma?
Yeah, his permanent residence is in Oklahoma.
Uh-huh.
And I'm kind of in between places. I'm a single man. I don't owe allegiance to any particular place. But we would like to sell the business and move to Oklahoma. We have a business interest we would like to get into in Oklahoma.
Uh-huh. All right.
Okay.
How's the business doing? Is it making any money?
Last year, we made about $60,000.
All right.
Okay. Our overhead ran about 50% of that.
Oh, you mean you grossed $60,000?
We grossed 60.
Not made 60.
No, we didn't make 60. We netted about 30.
All right.
And I was wondering whether I should go with a business broker or just run an ad in the paper.
Well, there's no reason, in my opinion, to engage a broker at the outset. If it doesn't work out, you can always talk to a broker. When you run an ad, you'll be approached by brokers as well, I guarantee you that.
You think so?
Oh, as sure as the sun comes up in the east, if the brokers down there are at least a bit sharp, they read the ads and they approach you, say, let me represent you. Sure. No, there's nothing criminal in that either.
Well, the business is in a smaller town, which is northwest of the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Yeah, but you're probably going to advertise in Dallas-Fort Worth in the major newspaper.
So we should advertise in Dallas-Fort Worth area.
I would think so, sure, as well as this, you can advertise wherever you choose, but you're looking to reach as many people as is possible in the business op column.
You're right there.
And then you're going to see if, what are you asking for it?
$20,000.
That's all?
Well, that's one of the questions I wanted to ask you. Now, we're wanting to get out pretty bad. Now,
how much is your inventory worth?
The inventory's worth about 18.
And it's netting 30.
Right.
How many hours a week are you putting into this thing?
Do I personally?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, hours per week, I'd say 3 or 4.
That's it?
That's about it.
How about your partner?
He puts in even less. Fortunately, we've hired some individuals down there to run the business for us who do a very
why don't you, if that's the case, why don't you continue to let them run it?
Well, like I said, I don't particularly want to be down here in Texas.
Well, if you're only working 4 hours a week, there's no reason for you to be there.
Well, you have a point, but we would like to have our business a little closer to home.
You're only taking $20,000 out. It's nickels and dimes.
Right. What we've got, Bruce, is an opportunity in a little town in Texas who just went from dry to wet, if you're familiar with.
Yes, I understand.
Okay. And there's a building in foreclosure, which is ideal for a bar.
I have no quarrel with that, but why would you? What has one got to do with the other unless you need the $20,000 badly for capital?
Well, that's what we need, exactly. We need the capital. We need to come in after the building is foreclosed on and purchase the building and open a bar.
Well, if it's doing what you're telling me it's doing,
right,
you shouldn't have any trouble selling it at all for $20,000.
You don't think so?
$18,000 in live inventory, netting 30? No.
Well, then, now we haven't. We've run one ad about 4 months ago to sell the business in locally, just in some of the local small town papers, which Bridgeport, Texas is not a very big place. And we got a few nibbles, but nothing. We had some individuals that had us on a string, had us jumping around.
I put the number. I got to turn you loose in a second. I put the numbers right in the ad. Video business, grosses 60, nets 30. Active inventory value $18,000, $20,000 cash. I think that should sell almost instantly.
Well, that sounds good.
I think you're probably underpriced it just a little bit, or so it seems to me. But shouldn't be any great problem selling that. And I hope you pick up your bar and do very well with it. By golly, music says it's time for me to sashay on out of here, and I shall do exactly that. Because the news guys and gals want to let you know what's happening around the country, around the world, and indeed around your very small corner of the world. Sometimes it's not always easy. From time to time it's difficult, but do give it your best shot. Try and do what's right. This is Bruce Williams. Keep in touch.
Someone to talk to and something to share. Someone you know who will always be there.
Hello there, my friends. How are you? I'm Bruce Williams. Welcome to my world. Welcome to Talknet, the nation's backyard. Talknet, yeah, we go from coast to coast, ocean to ocean, and as well as border to border. We talk about you and your life, your hopes, your ambitions, your dreams, all of the things that make you the very, very special person that you are. Yeah, we share concerns with our neighbors, and frequently, more often than I'd like, very frankly, I don't know the answer to your questions, but I'm very, very fortunate in having a whole bunch of quality experts all around the country that are willing to jump right in, give us a shout, and give us the answers. And that's what Talknet is all about, the exchange of information and ideas. Now, if you'd like to reach us, it's a piece of cake. You pick up your phone, you dial 800-223-4141. 223-4141. That's good from the 47 contiguous states, District of Columbia, and the Caribbean. New York State, the number is 800-522-5454. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. We begin the festivities in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Hello there.
Hello there, Bruce. How are you?
I am very well, thank you.
I enjoy your program. I think it's a terrific program, and I listen to it every day you're on.
Well, thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Bruce, we have a problem, my husband and I, and it is in regards to VA. He was injured in the service in the Korean War, and he's been trying to get his service-connected benefits since 1976. And what they have been doing with him is having him be examined by the doctors in Pittsburgh, okay? And after they examine him and find that he is totally disabled, they send the records to Washington, D.C. They, in turn, send them back here and say that they are supposed to, they give him 75 cents, for his 75% for his disability, and they are to award this. This is the award, okay? Then he waits for them to send the money to him. He gets the DAV to get in his corner because he doesn't hear from them. Then the DAV gets on him, and then they tell him that they're sending his records back to Washington, D.C. This has been going on since 1976. So today, they sent a letter about 2 months ago and said that he was to go to the federal building to be examined by the physician there. And the doctor examined him, and he said the same thing. Now it's up to 100% because my husband's condition has deteriorated so badly, he's totally disabled to work. Now, where do we go from here? He's been getting a runaround since 1976.
Have you talked to your congressman?
Yes, I did. This is how we got the results that we just got.
Go back to your congressman. He's the guy.
And he will tell us what to do.
Absolutely. It's only a question of telling you what to do. He has the clout, the influence, the juice, whatever you want to call it. That's what he gets paid for.
Okay.
When he talks to a federal bureaucrat, they're going to listen.
Okay.
The average bear, no, they're not going to listen. That isn't meant to be an indictment. That's just a matter of fact.
Okay. Well, could you tell me if and when they give him his entitlement, will they give it to him retroactive?
I have no way of knowing that.
Okay, but the congressman is the one to talk to.
Absolutely, and you tell him I said so.
All right.
See, that's what he gets paid for. If you can't reach him or in some way they give you a bad time, you get back to me, I'll go rattle his cage.
All right. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Brother.
No, listen, that's what politics is all about. Really, that's what you use these fellas and girls. They break their buns. That's right. They're out there trying to get elected. Well, after they get elected, they have a job to do, and that's part of the job. Hello there, Dallas. Your turn.
Thank you. Hello, Bruce. I enjoy listening to your program very much. I listen to it daily, and there's nothing like it.
Well, thank you.
Okay, I have a problem. Well, I don't really have the problem. My daughter has the problem.
Well, that's your problem, isn't it?
Oh, it really is.
I hear you.
What happened is that she called an exercise club that to inquire about an ad they had run in the paper about a reduced rates on an exercise program.
Sure.
This was the weekend before Memorial Day, and she talked to the person who handled the inquiry, and the person asked her, since this was Memorial Day, to give her 2 credit card numbers so that she could do a credit check. And when she came in, she could finalize the contract by signing. Okay, she decided that she couldn't afford it, and she did not go in.
She never signed anything?
She never signed anything.
Okay.
But now she's getting letters from the club and from the club's lawyers, and they even said that the girl herself signed my daughter's name to the contract. And they are threatening to take her to court and sue her.
They admit that she signed it?
They did on the phone, but then they took it back real quick. When we said, oh, she signed her name, and they have tried to get her to respond in writing, and she did. She asked them in writing, but she printed her name. She wouldn't sign her name, her signature. She printed it.
Good.
Uh-huh.
All right.
And now she's still getting the letters, though, threatening to take her to court for the amount that they said that this program cost, like almost $500.
Uh-huh. I would write them one letter and one letter only, certified mail, saying that your daughter made an inquiry and an inquiry only on the Now, I'm assuming that's the case. Now, you tell me different. Did your daughter say, okay, sign me up?
No.
You're sure?
No, she couldn't say that. The contract was supposed to have been there for her to come in and sign.
That isn't what I asked you. Did your daughter say, okay, I'll be in to sign up, or anything like that?
Oh, she did say that she would come in and investigate. And
no, wait, that's a different matter. Now, I'm asking you a very, very specific question.
She did not say, okay, sign me up.
All right, she made no commitment on a telephone.
No, other than she gave him her credit cards for them to do a credit check.
All right, and she said, I'll come in and look into it further or something similar to that.
Right.
All right, I would write them a very brief or certified letter saying that on such a date, my daughter inquired, responding to one of your advertisements, inquired by telephone, that your representative asked for credit information, which my daughter provided, that my daughter, or this is your daughter, the first person, pardon me, your daughter would say this, that I never indicated anything other than an interest in investigating your facility, and never at any time agreed to enroll, nor have I ever visited the facility physically. I assume that's the case?
No, she didn't.
Never been there?
They don't even know her.
Okay, fine. And that furthermore, I've signed no documents. And furthermore, send this by mailgram.
Mailgram.
I'll tell you why. No signature.
All right.
All right? You can Mary Jones, but it's not going to be a signed document, all right? In the event that you pursue this matter further and in any way damage my credit reputation, I will take whatever civil action is necessary to protect my interests. And let it go at that. And if they do, let them sue you, then you'll let them sue her and she'll countersue. I don't think it'll come to that.
Oh, okay then.
Good luck.
All righty. Thank you so much.
What probably happened was, some little Giovanni on the other end got herself a little commission by processing this thing, and the chances are she's not even with the company anymore. I'm Bruce Williams for Talknet. Omaha, Nebraska, your turn on Talknet.
Okay, hi, Bruce. My problem is that my husband had surgery in June, and I want to state that I'm calling you from Omaha, but I live in Charlotte.
My goodness, you're a long way from home.
Well, I'm down here visiting my folks. So, anyway, his insurance company, can I say the name?
No, it's not necessary at this moment.
Okay. Anyway, they're refusing to pay, and the hospital where he had surgery at, and the doctor, and what have you, are trying to sue us.
Back up a little bit.
Okay.
You said your husband was injured in a car accident?
No, he had surgery.
Well, just had surgery, period.
Right.
All right. Now, he had hospitalization?
No. Well, yeah, through this company.
Well, wait a minute.
They're now refusing to pay.
Well, no, wait a minute. Did he have regular hospitalization benefits?
Yes.
Medical, surgical, the whole business?
Yes.
Well, on what basis are they refusing to pay?
Well, they're trying to say that it's a pre-existing ailment.
Condition?
Right.
Was it?
No.
What was the nature of the operation?
He had gallbladder surgery.
Well, gallbladders are usually around for quite a while before you have them operated on.
Yeah, but see, he had never been checked for it. And when they did check it, well, then he was just 2 weeks before having surgery.
How long was he insured by the company?
He had surgery in June, and he was insured in April.
Did you buy this privately, or did you buy it through his boss?
Through his job. And he's been working for them since January.
Uh-huh. Had your husband ever been treated for a gallbladder before?
No.
Period.
No. He has never. He had back in many years ago, like in about 73, he had a problem, but they never actually said that it was gallbladder.
Did they ever mention gallbladder?
No.
They had no reason to believe he had gallbladder disease.
No.
Because it probably was a pre-existing condition.
Right, but it was never treated.
But whether he knew about it's another matter.
Right, but see, it was never treated.
So well, in this case, you have a contractual disagreement. That means you got to sue somebody. It means the insurance company in this case.
Right. So then you are saying that we should sue them.
Well, you have a contract, right?
Right.
And you say it says one thing, they say it says something else.
Right.
Well, in that case, if you can't litigate or arbitrate the thing, you litigate it. Have you talked to your employer?
Yes, we have, and they're trying to get them to pay, and they're not getting any further than we are.
Uh-huh. Well,
see, we're in one state, and the insurance is a company. The main office is in another state.
Doesn't make any difference. They're licensed to do business in your state, I'm sure.
Uh-huh.
So your action would be in your state.
Okay.
How much are your husband's doctor bills?
About $2,700.
It's worth going after.
Right. I mean, and we don't have the money. I mean, we've got $150 deductible, but and we've paid, I think, $95 of that, even, and that's not very much. That he was out of work, and we just ain't got nothing to go on.
Uh-huh.
So, and I'm not working, so.
Well, unhappily, you're probably going to have to find an attorney, and that's going to require some money up front.
Right. But I would rather pay a little bit than the $2,700, which we definitely don't have.
Another thing you might want to do is contact the insurance commissioner in your state.
Okay.
And see if he or she can be of some assistance to you.
Okay.
I mean, whether or not there's a valid disclaimer on their part, I don't know. I was going to be kind of interested. You hang on. You listen to the radio. Maybe we'll get somebody to comment. Okay? I'd be interested if somebody's in the insurance industry out there. If you can tell me why a claim like this might be disallowed. Man had gallbladder disease, had a gallbladder operated on some 2 months after a hospitalization plan became effective at work. Never was treated for gallbladder before. Very possibly the disease was there. I mean, I had a gallbladder done here a few years ago, and I didn't know I had gallbladder problems, but I knew I had a problem of some kind. I mean, I used to live on those little round things that, you pop in the glass and then you carry in your top pocket. But I didn't know it was gallbladder. And all of a sudden, wow, did I have a gallbladder attack? Point being that, why would you, under what term would you disclaim this? I'd like to know if you're in the insurance business. The number's 212-245-6040, 212-245-6040. In the meantime, I'm going to go to Freiburg, Maine. Hello there. Oh, I'm in Freiburg now.
Beg your pardon?
Hello there, Freiburg. I skipped the call. You're next. Go ahead.
I have a couple of questions which relate to a summer camp. It's recently been announced in this area that a summer camp, which has been in operation for 30 or 40 years, is coming up for sale, and it's been decided that it'll be sold through an auction.
Overnight or day?
It's an overnight camp. It's a girls' camp. And
residence camp, okay.
Correct. Very good reputation. Now, there's several questions which have come to mind. One is, it's going to be sold in an auction whereby apparently the option will exist for it to be divided into parcels, and those parcels will be auctioned, at the end of which the auctioneer will take a total for the sum of the value bid on those parcels and will then offer the entire piece for a bid in excess of the sum.
Yes, they do this very regularly when they're having a sale of a business where they'll sell all the merchandise separately and then ask for a one-block bid. And if the one-block bid is larger than all of the separate little sales, they are negated and one guy walks out with a whole works.
I see. Well, the questions that I have in mind, I'd like your help with, would be two. One is, I've never really investigated how one sort of lines up financing for such a thing in advance.
Very difficult. With great difficulty. How much is involved here?
Well, it's really hard to know. It's probably in the range of, I would think, $300,000 to $400,000.
Ooh, does it throw off that kind of dough?
It apparently nets, at least from an informal discussion that I've had with the present owner, it grosses out about $450,000 a year.
What's it net?
That I'm not sure, and that was one of the other questions I wanted to talk with you about.
The chances are that thing is what's happened in so many businesses, that the property is worth more than the business.
That was my suspicion. Now, in the event that it might be continued to be operated as a camp, I guess one of the questions that I had for you was, what does one do about actually finding out the actual financial status presently? I mean, what can one insist on seeing by way of documents and so forth?
Well, you can't insist on anything. You can request. I mean, this isn't a forced sale, is it?
No, that's correct.
Then you can't insist on anything. You can say, I'd like to see your books, tax returns, and so forth. But here's the problem. You say it grosses $400, right?
That's what he tells me. I have not seen anything.
It probably nets around somewhere around $100,000 a year.
That was my guess.
All right. So you're talking about the property. If it's going to go, if the property goes for $400,000 on a commercial deal, you're talking $60,000 just in interest a year, in addition to bringing down the principal on a monthly basis.
That's right.
And what has probably happened here, as I indicated earlier, the guy is saying it's worth more as raw land or as development land or whatever you're doing with land in your part of the world. Now, the other part of that little scenario is maybe you cut a deal with him to buy just one parcel and buy his following for the one parcel. Do you need all that land for the camp?
Probably not all, although probably one would need at least two-thirds of it.
How many acres involved?
80. Some of it is backland. A lot of it is lakefront. That's obviously necessary. Some of it's backland, which is not presently being used, but has much less value inherently, of course.
Indeed. You have how much money you have to play with?
Well, I think that I probably could put my hands on $75,000 to $100,000 by sort of a second mortgage on my present house and so forth.
Stick around. We go around the corner. I'm kind of curious about a couple of things because it is an unusual way to handle a transaction of this kind. But we'll talk about it in just a moment. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. I'm chatting with a gentleman in Maine. He wants to buy a girls' camp, a residence camp, $400,000. It just seems to me. First of all, why is it being sold this way? Why are they just trying to sell the business?
Well, I think that I just talked with the fellow informally today. My impression is that, or what he tells me is that after 25 years, he and his wife have just gotten tired of it, and what they're doing is trying to sell it in a way which is absolutely final, and their concern is that if they sell it as a business, that they will end up having to continue to advise and be involved in it over several years, and they just want to walk away from it.
They'll also have to carry paper.
That he's willing to do because, in fact, he wants to spread out his gain. So he's prepared to carry paper. In fact, he's prepared to talk about offering it at a point below, at a percent below prime.
Well, I don't understand why you just can't go to make him an offer. Forget about the auction. Or is he committed to the auction?
I think he's committed to the auction. Basically, in fact, because I happen to live nearby, I just sort of stopped over. I saw the auction sign, and it was only after we sort of chatted informally for a bit that he was willing to really even kind of get into the details at all. I think he...
Well, how does he expect to sell it otherwise?
Well, I think I think that there has been some interest in doing some development of the land.
That's what it comes down to.
Well, but I mean, I certainly think he's prepared to use that as leverage at least.
Well, leverage, I mean, it's worth more probably as a development land as a camp.
It's very likely.
Well, in that case, forget about it.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. But if it goes for development land, right?
Right.
You might be able to buy his following.
I see. You're saying, and then take the business and set it up elsewhere.
Pick up some property elsewhere in the area. Absolutely. But I mean, 400 G's, that's a lot of bread for a residence camp, I'll tell you. Because, you know, as I'm sure you know, well, a lot of camps are doing very, very well. I was in that enterprise for a while. For 14 years worth. It was enough for me, too. I can understand how he and his wife feel.
Sure.
Boy, can I understand. But putting that emotion aside for a moment, the residence camp business is been suffering around the country.
Right.
I mean, more and more kids aren't going, or they're getting stiff competition by day camps.
Yeah, my sense is that this is a particularly high quality and high level clientele. Their charge is $3,000 a summer, and they're running 150 or 160 kids.
That's a steep tuition bill.
Exactly, but it's been run on a very high quality basis. So to some extent, it's sort of in a premier category.
Well, I got to tell you, my friend, if I were going to go in the camp business, okay, personally, I would not buy an existing operation for that kind of dough.
I see.
I might buy the clientele, but I wouldn't pay that kind of bread. Nothing like it. I don't think it's necessary, and I don't think it's wise.
Okay.
Good luck, my friend.
Thank you. Bye.
Fresno, California. Oh, I got a couple of insurance agents? All right. I've got 9. Hello there, gentlemen.
Hello.
All righty. Who wants to go first? Minneapolis, you go first.
All right. Now, what you're going to find in a lot of these cases, Bruce, is that insurance companies lost a lot of money last year, and they're starting to challenge insurances. And this company, I take it, has a big group insurance. Okay.
Yeah, but the scenario is he came into the insurance plan in April.
Yeah.
How can they go back and say that the gallbladder disease he was operated in July?
Okay. Well. Okay.
And more important, what would you advise the insured to do?
Okay. Here's what I would tell her to do. I'd tell her to write a very, very explicit and nice long letter to the insurance company.
To the claims department?
To the claims department. To the guy that's specifically handling that claim.
All right.
Okay? I tell her to write a nice little letter to him. I mean, really nice. I mean, I'm not saying that sarcastically. And let them know, because they're more than likely just challenging this claim just to challenge it. Okay? Because if you're talking about writing something in April, and it's going to take 3 to 4 weeks to get underwritten anyway.
Yeah.
And so you're not talking about that much time in between. So they're just taking a closer look at that right there is what they're looking at.
Des Moines, what's your outlook on this thing?
I couldn't hear a thing that Minneapolis said, so I might be redundant.
All right, go right ahead.
I'm a salesman, and this is a salesman's nightmare, believe me. And I don't know how long the salesman had the group enforced, but there's several ways of looking at it. I've seen about a half a dozen different pre-existing conditions clauses written up. One of them says, for example, if someone new comes on the group like this gentleman was, where it's not a takeover, and the group's established, new employee comes on, if it's a small group of 10 or under, in some cases 10 or under, but whatever the company would call a small group, there was probably a health application filled out. On the health application, it probably said something like, have you ever been told that you had or received any advice or treatment for a long list of things?
Yeah.
He could say no gallbladder. But then usually there's a little sentence that says, have you had or received any advice or treatment for any physical disorder not listed above? The had, any physical disorder might have picked it up if it was a small group. For example, they would say pre-existing condition might be a condition that would cause a normally prudent person to seek medical advice or treatment. Maybe he went into his doctor and said, Doc, I've been having these pains down here now for about 6 months. And when the claims people wrote for the medical, it came back and Doc wrote down on the medical, the patient says he's been complaining of pains for 6 months. Sure, he didn't know it was gallbladder, but if it's been serious, why didn't he tell him on the health application? Another thing might be sometimes a pre-existing condition would be a condition that they had seek medical advice or treatment for, simply advice or treatment. In this case, it doesn't sound like it applies. But to me, more than likely what happened was that when he went into, you had gallbladder, how long did it bother you before? Do gallbladders usually just boom out of the clear blue, here's a gallbladder attack?
I didn't know it was gallbladder, I must tell you that.
But
I thought I had food
if
poisoning.
someone asked you on a health application, have you ever had, in the last 5 years, any physical disorders? Would you feel obligated to tell them that you've been having to take Alka-Seltzer for a terrible pain?
No, I don't think so.
That's not a physical disorder in your opinion?
No.
Well,
that got to be kind of a way of life.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, carrying, either Alka-Seltzer or Tums or Rolaids or one of those things, no, I didn't think it was a physical disorder.
I really feel that a lot of it depends on whether a health application was taken or whether it was just an enrollment card filled out. And if it's an enrollment card filled out, they're going to be a lot more lenient on pre-existing than a health application. An enrollment card, more than likely, whether he was having a physical disorder or not, if as long as he didn't have any treatment for it within a certain period, maybe 90 days to 6 months before he was enrolled, it should be covered.
Right. To answer your question, really, I'm not going to Minneapolis. Seriously, I just had a little heartburn. I didn't think of any gallbladder. Matter of fact, when I had my nonsense, they thought it was as a result of the airplane. They spent 5 days giving me tests that had to do with airplane accidents, and they said, gee, you got gallbladder. What do you know? Nothing to do with it.
Let me just briefly tell you what happened to me once. When I got into business 5 years ago, the first group that I placed, on the books 6 months, took over another group. It was a small group. We had to take health applications. Gentleman went in, had surgery for some kind of a tumor on his tailbone. On the health application, he didn't tell me anything about it. He hadn't seen a doctor for it, but when he went in to have his surgery, geez, doc, this has really been bothering me for about the last 8 months. It's been draining in my shorts,
In other words, he convicted himself.
Oh, yeah, and a lot of times people do that. They self-incriminate themselves when they go to the doc because they've just had insurance enforced, a very short time. Didn't tell the agent. They wasn't serious enough to tell the agent that they had heartburn. But, boy, all of a sudden it's important enough that the doc needs to know for 6 months I've been making Alka-Seltz every day because I can't hardly swallow or something.
Well, I screwed up because I didn't tell him either. I didn't tell him either. Let's go on to Minneapolis. Go ahead.
Bruce, that might be where the whole problem lies, too, with the doctor. The doctor might have known, but didn't tell the patient.
I've seen that.
They might have seen it coming on or something. And, see, that's why you have to get everybody involved in it, see? And that's still right. Write that letter, like I said before.
Very well.
I think the insurance commissioner was your best advice.
Well, let's hope she picks up on one of those things. Gentlemen, I thank you both very, very much for joining us. I truly do. Time to go make some money, huh? I'm Bruce Williams, and that's what Talknet is all about. Friends helping friends. This is Talknet. I really am, because without you, we've got a serious problem. Nothing coming down. That's right, because you guys make the thing work. Now, to make the thing work, we've got telephones all over the place, and they all start with 800. Here's the way it works. You give me a call, you and I'll have a chat, we'll talk about whatever's on your mind. Your hopes, your ambitions, your dreams, all the things that make you the special person that you are. I might not have an answer. Could be I'll have to call one of our specialists around the country. Well, we've got them just waiting to jump in. Now, let's lay those telephone numbers on you. 800-223-4141. 800-223-4141 from 47 states, the District of Columbia, and the Caribbean area. The exception is New York State, where you dial 800-522-5454, 522-5454. All I got is my absolutely unbiased opinion, only biased with my own biases, but you know what that means. I'm Bruce Williams. Yup, stick around for Talknet. Over in Indiana, we begin with you. Welcome to Talknet.
Hi, I'm a first-time caller and I'm rather nervous, so I'll try to...
Relax. Look, it's just you and me against the world.
Okay.
Okay.
I understand your principle of making mortgage payments 15 days late so you can have the extra interest money.
Yes, ma'am.
But I found an article in the newspaper that was making an example out of a $48,000 mortgage at 12%.
Yeah.
Said the interest and the payments would be $493.73 a month.
Mm-hmm.
They said if you split the mortgage payment in half, paying only $246 every 2 weeks.
Yeah. You're allowed to. Some lenders will allow you to do that, and others will not.
Well, they said if you did that, you'd have the mortgage paid off in 19 years and 1 month.
That's also true.
Instead of 30 years.
Also true.
And that you would be saving $55,680.
Not true.
How?
Why is it untrue?
Yeah.
Because you've been denied the use of all that money over the years.
Would the extra interest on the extra amount make up for the...
It would depend upon how much the extra interest was, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, I've not guessed. It's absolutely true.
Well, it just surprised me because I always understood your principle, but then when this said that you could pay $55,000...
Yes, but whoa. That isn't what they said at all. What they said was some lenders will set up a mortgage where you make a bi-monthly payment. Isn't that true?
Well, the article just reads that you could pay it, whether...
No, you just can't walk in and start paying your mortgage that way. Not without the lender's consent. Now, what you can do is prepay the principal, but that doesn't necessarily make sense either. Depends upon you. Why do I say that?
You got me.
All right. Depends on what you earn. If you're a low earner, it pays. If you're a high earner, it doesn't pay. Because the government's paying, if you're in the 50% tax bracket, the government's paying half the interest, aren't they? Well, is that a yes or a no?
That's a yes.
Well, of course they are. So given that, let's assume you get your 12% mortgage you talked about, right? Let's further assume that you're not in the 50% bracket. Let's assume the government's paying 5%. So you're really paying 7%. Is that okay?
Okay.
If you can invest that money for 9% or 8% even, where's the advantage? Paying it off early or investing it?
I'm so nervous. I didn't understand you.
All right, let's assume that you're paying 12% on a mortgage, right?
Right.
All right, now, what are you nervous about, by the way? I'm not nervous. Why should you be nervous?
I'm sorry.
Does your husband know you and I meet like this?
He's listening on the radio in the kitchen.
Oh, that rascal. Goodness gracious. Menage a trois here on the air. This is terrible. All right, you got 12%, right? True interest 7% because the government's paying 5%, okay?
Right.
Now, if you took that money and invested it, we'll say at 8%. Fair enough? That's 1% more than the 7% you're paying off, isn't it?
Right.
Well, which is the better way to go?
I would wait till I paid late.
To invest it, isn't that true? Depends upon your situation. There are mortgage companies, banks, savings and loans, etc., that are giving more or granting or whatever you want to characterize it, mortgages where you make a semi-monthly payment. But all that means is you have the use of their money for less time, so you pay them less interest. That's all.
It did say that you'd be making 26 payments a year instead of just 12.
All right. That's a bi-weekly. That's not semi-monthly then. That's bi-weekly. There's a difference.
Right.
But again, you have the use of their money for less time. Nothing miraculous about that.
Okay.
That's all. Good luck.
Fine.
You still nervous?
Yes, I am.
Okay, go out and nibble on your husband's ear.
Fine.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, Hocus N.J. Hello there.
How do you do, sir?
I am doing very well.
I understand that you're an expert and a very much of a buff on old used cars.
Buff, perhaps. Expert, not a chance.
I see. My situation is that today I went out shopping for a car.
Yeah.
And I saw at a very well-known dealer of a famous German make a absolutely spectacular
old Mercedes
convertible.
had to be. Yep.
And a convertible of the vintage 1967, totally restored and in apparently beautiful shape.
Yep.
And I fell in love with it.
All right.
My problem is that I have absolutely nothing to judge by whether the price is reasonable or fair or what. Right. And I don't know what to do about that.
Well, there are a three publications, and I'm not going to give them a plug. Maybe I got to talk to management about that. Maybe it would be okay to give them plug. Focus on a particular car. But there's one that you should find on a major newsstand, and you're not that far from New York City where you're going to find a major newsstand.
I work there every day, yeah.
Okay, that lists almost every automobile made back into the 30s, and some even beyond that, and tells you about with certain equipment and certain models what they're worth. It gives you a ballpark. What are they asking for this beast? Let me the guide. What are they asking?
$27,500. An 18-year-old car, beautiful condition.
Well, the year. I would suggest one thing. Do you have or can you get hold of a classified for New York Times from last week?
Sure I can.
Okay, well, take a look at the antique and classic section. There are a whole bunch of Mercedes, and there was a Mercedes convertible listed this week. I think it was about a 1960, if I'm not mistaken. Mercedes is not my car. I'm not interested in Mercedes. I'm interested in old Cadillacs.
Yeah.
Much older, which reckon maybe have a little more idea of value. But I know there was a 60 or 61 Mercedes convertible listed, and that's a pretty car, by the way.
Yes.
I saw one, where was I? I think in Minneapolis. No, Milwaukee, not too long ago. Saw a real beauty parked at the hotel. Nice car.
Yes, it sure is.
I'll do that. They're a lot of fun, and the chances are, if you buy it even closely right, you never get hurt.
Yeah.
They'll go up in value. Most guys buy a car like me, your regular car, you run around in, and you buy the car, and next year it's worth $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 less than you paid for it.
Yeah.
You buy a car like you've described, the likelihood is to be worth more than you paid for it, if you take care of it.
One other quick question, if I may. I understand that the oil companies are about to start to phase out leadless gas. unleaded regular gas.
You mean leaded gas, you mean?
I guess leaded gas.
Yes.
The gas that now is known as regular.
Yes.
Will that create a problem if that's not available?
No, you can burn just a higher octane lead-free gas.
The higher octane.
A higher octane lead-free.
Very good, sir.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Yes. I'll tell you. Yeah, you can. I mean, cars don't turn. You give me a brand new Lincoln or Cadillac, it's just a way to get to work. I mean, for me, just not the kind. It doesn't turn me on. But you give me one that's 30 or 40 years old, and then I can get very excited. Or 50 years old, I can get very excited about one of those automobiles. I can indeed. Hi, Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. Louisville, Texas. Hello there. Louisville, are you there? He's not there? Sure, I punched it down. I'm right on the button. Louisville, are you there? Well, maybe we got a bad line there, too. Hallelujah. Albany, New York, your turn.
Yes, I have a question pertaining to real estate.
Uh-huh.
I listed a house with a national real estate firm.
Well, you listed it with a local office that one is affiliated with a...
Right.
And there's a big difference.
Right.
Go ahead.
My problem is I can't get any response from them now. I had to list an exclusive because it's an out-of-the-way area.
Yeah.
And no one's close to it. So I listed an exclusive for 9 months.
9 months?
Yeah, that's as short as I could talk him down to.
Well...
It's been 2 months now, and I keep calling him, and I can't get in touch with him. I haven't heard anything from anybody. Is there any way to get out of a contract?
Well, the answer is this: contracts can be broken for non-performance, and if you're alleging or that this guy is not doing what he was supposed to do, yeah. But I mean, you say you can't reach him. Why can't you reach him?
He's never there in his office.
Well, who's there?
An answering machine.
A machine?
Yeah.
That's it?
Yeah. And
has anybody come to look at your house?
Pardon?
Has anyone come to look at the property?
No one.
I would send him a certified letter saying, I can't reach you by telephone unless you can call me back within 3 days upon receipt of this letter at such a number and give the hours you'll be there. I will consider that our arrangement to be broken. Check with your attorney and see if his contract is broken by the fact that he can't. There's nothing happened, but more important, you can't reach him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure it's going to hold any water.
Yeah. Okay.
But he should be available.
Yes,
he really should be.
Okay.
Good luck, my friend. Can't understand that. I mean, a real estate guy who's not available. How does he make any money? Topeka, Kansas. Hello.
Hello, Bruce.
Hi.
Hi. I'm only 13 years old, and I have a problem that I'd like you to know about.
Tell me.
Okay. My mother is a vice principal.
That's a problem, huh?
What?
That's a problem, huh?
No.
Okay.
Well, you need to know about everything so you can understand my situation.
Go ahead.
So, my mother is a vice principal, and I was over at one of the counselors' houses, and he wanted to sell me a car, an old car, a 62 Ford Falcon.
When you say a counselor, what do you mean?
What?
You mean a camp counselor or a counselor at your school?
A counselor at our school.
All right, go ahead.
And he wanted to sell me a car, and I like the car a lot.
Yeah.
But
any car at 13 looks pretty good.
Yeah. But the whole idea of getting a car right now is so that I can have some time to restore it, if you catch my drift.
I'm listening.
And so I can restore it by the time I'm 16 years old.
Yeah.
And I'll be able to drive a nice, clean car.
Yeah.
And the only problem is I can't even really scrounge enough money up to get it, of course. He's asking $600 for it.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure that I can talk my mom into getting it for me.
Well, I'll tell you something. You're a heck of a salesman if you can. If I were your mom or your dad, I'd say you got to be kidding, boy. 13 getting a car? No way, no how.
Okay.
I mean, I understand. Look, I know what I remember. Listen. When I was getting cars, they were Stanley Steamers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I remember to this day, the day that I got my driver's license. I remember where I went and how I opened the place up. I was down there at 7 o'clock in the morning waiting for the joint to open up, all right?
Yeah.
Very important piece of work. I understand that. But having said that, There is no way in the world I would let a 13-year-old have a car unless you live on a 2,000-acre farm in the middle of no place. And I don't think that's the case.
Well, I got the 80 acres in no place. We have that.
But you live on a farm?
Not really a farm, but we live out in the boonies where nobody is.
And you own the 80, your parents own the 80 acres?
Yes.
Well, maybe a little later on before you're 16, but not at 13.
Yeah, okay.
And furthermore, I think it's unrealistic for you ask your parents to put the bread up.
Uh-huh.
I mean, if you really want it bad enough, let's go out and start doing whatever you can do to make some money.
Yeah, I've been trying to do that.
What have you been trying to do?
Well, I have a job at the concession stands at our football games.
Uh-huh.
And I have an allowance.
Uh-huh.
And I also mow the lawn and ask my mom to do stuff as much as I can.
Okay, listen, keep hustling, but I think you're a little young.
Okay.
I really do. Sorry to come down the wrong side of this one for you. We'll do it again, Tiger.
Okay, thanks.
I'm Bruce Williams. Oh, I can't do a commercial. Oh, no, everybody's panicking. Don't do a commercial. I thought I had a commercial. My goodness gracious. Woke him up in the control room anyway. Okay, Mansfield. Hello there.
Hello.
Hello, Mansfield, Ohio.
Hi.
What's up?
I love your show.
Well, thank you, ma'am.
I have a question on a tax shelter investment.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to, I'm thinking about investing in a variable annuity with a life insurance company.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to shelter some money to reduce my taxes.
In other words, you want to reduce the taxes on your investment income.
Well,
you got to have the money to buy the annuity. You got to give them money.
Okay,
it's money that would be earning money elsewhere. Is that correct?
No, I'm not so concerned about that. I want to shelter money so that so it'll reduce the amount that I'm paying to the federal government.
I understand that, but there's two ways to shelter money.
All right.
Or several ways. One is, for example, to buy real estate, which gives you depreciation so you can actually shelter earned income. What you're trying to do is shelter some money that you have saved that is earning money for you. Is that not the case?
No, it's earned income.
How is it sheltering earned income?
Okay, here's the situation. See, I'm paying into a retirement system.
Yeah.
And I'm paying taxes on that money now.
On the money before you put it in?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am, but it's still earned income. What you want to do is be able to put money into a tax-deferred annuity. Is that correct?
Yes,
So you can take money off the top and stick it in. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay, I don't have any great quarrel with that. I don't have a whole lot of enthusiasm over annuities. Only because you are, in many cases, divorced for your money from an extended period of time. Is that the case here, or can you get at it when you want to by paying a penalty?
Okay, there's a 5% front load, so I can take it out whenever I want to. And the reason I want to do this, see, I'm going to retire in 3 years.
How old are you?
Well, I'll be 50.
All right. In 3 years, you're retiring?
Yes,
Yeah, then what?
Well, see, then I will not have any income for a couple of years as I pull out the retirement that I've already paid taxes on.
How much money are you earning, very quickly?
$40,000.
All right, then it may make sense to you over the short pull. As long as you're able to pull it down in 3 years. If it can be set up that way, and I assume that it can from what you tell me, you're going to reduce, albeit temporarily, your tax burden. I'm Bruce Williams for Talknet. Thank you for your patience. Rochester, New York. Hello there.
How you doing tonight, Bruce?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Good. I've got a question for you here about, I'm considering the purchase of a piece of property to build a home at.
Yeah.
The purchase price would be somewhere between $30,000 and $40,000.
Just for the land?
Right. It is a piece of waterfront property.
Yeah, I'm not questioning the value. I just wanted to be certain we're talking about just the value of the land itself.
Okay. As it stands now, I own a home. It's not free and clear. I have about $40,000 equity.
Yeah.
Okay. The owner of the property would be willing to hold a mortgage.
Yeah.
All right, and I'm trying to figure out how I can get a private mortgage from them build a house and keep my house in the meantime.
Well, here's the problem. He is going to have to subordinate his mortgage to the construction loan and the first mortgage that you get on the building. Is he willing to do that?
That I don't know.
Effectively, he will have a second mortgage. That's what it comes down to. If he's not willing to subordinate, the deal's off, it seems to me.
Okay, so...
Now, wait a while. Let's assume... Do you have any cash floating around?
I could probably come up with about 15,000.
All right, fine. Here's the thing. If you're going to build, and you know that you're going to build, you get a whole bunch of little building bricks, no pun intended, you got to lay down here, all right? First of all, you cut your deal with the guy who owns the property. Contingent on your ability to get A, a construction loan, which is no great shakes, and B, permanent underlying financing, all right? Now, property is 40 for the sake of discussion. How much is it going to cost you to build?
I figure to build a house that I could live with, probably about 80,000.
Let's make it 100, because you know you're going to be off by that much, having been there. Now you got 140 grand, right?
Right.
All right. You got... Wow, crunch. Did you do that?
No.
You rascal. Okay. Let's assume that you're going to put 15 down for the sake of this discussion, right?
Okay.
You've got to go out and line up $125,000 worth of permanent financing, all right?
Right.
Now, at the end, after the house is built, then you will get the permanent financing and you pay off the guy who owns the property. But he would, during the construction process, he would have to subordinate his mortgage to the construction loan. Otherwise, nobody's going to loan you 100 G's to build a house.
Right.
That's all. No big deal. Happens all the time.
It's just, it seems like a lot of juggling, You got to go to the bank and sell them.
Well, absolutely.
Right.
Anytime you're building, it's much more involved than it is when you're just going for a conventional mortgage. Even that's complicated today, for crying out loud.
Right, they don't make it too easy.
No, they certainly don't. I've done it so many times, and I'm involved in one now, and I talked to my attorney today, and I said, you mean those yeah, that's what they're going to do to you. And I had to do it.
How do you feel about the owner doing like me building it myself?
Well, then if you think it's tough to get financing for having a builder do it, why do you try to get financing when you're doing it yourself? Banks are scared to death of guys like you, and with good reason. This is no reflection on you.
Oh, right. I've seen a lot of botched jobs.
Not only botched, but abandoned. Sure. And the last thing the bank needs is a half-built building. Good luck, my friend.
Okay, thanks, Lambert.
We go now to Logan, Utah. Hello there.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you tonight?
I am just fine, thanks. What's up?
Well, I have a comment and a question.
All right, let's take the comment quickly.
Okay, here a minute ago you had mentioned, somebody asked about the lead being done away with in the fuel.
Yep.
And you had said you could compensate by using the higher octane.
Sure, all lead does, as I understand it, is to raise the octane on cheaper fuel.
Well, lead is a lubricant in your valve train.
Yeah.
And that lubricates your valves in the valve guides and on the valve seats.
Yeah.
And on some of the older engines, they don't have hardened surfaces, and lack of lead could damage an engine.
Yeah, but going back 25 years ago, Amoco put out what they called their Super Amoco, which at that time was called a white gas.
Yeah.
It was one of the best gases around, much higher octane. And all engines were built to take leaded gas at the time. You could use that white gas with no problem.
Oh, okay, great. My question was, I've heard you comment on not having collision insurance on an older vehicle.
Yeah.
I was wondering what your reasoning is on that.
Because it's throwing money right down the toilet. Simple as that. You take a 19... Now, look, I guess it was in this segment, a guy talked about a $27,000 18-year-old Mercedes. Now, obviously, it's a different ballgame, all right?
Right.
Well, if you're talking about the average Bears Chevrolet that's 6 years old, it's worth $1,500. It's crazy buying insurance on that car in most marketplaces because the return on the figure it out. Just go back a little bit, okay?
All right.
If you had a $10,000 car, I'm just going to take numbers, and I have no idea if these numbers obtain, but it illustrates a point which I'm confident will hold true. All right. You bought a $10,000 car. Right. You pay $100 for the collision insurance for the sake of discussion. It becomes a $1,000 car. You don't pay $10. You pay $25 or $30. So your dollars buy you substantially less coverage.
until you get hit.
What do you mean? It makes no difference. Your dollars still buy you less coverage. Dollar for dollar, you are protecting less dollars with more dollars. It becomes a very bad buy after about 4 years. Now, that's fact.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't make it up.
Yeah. Until you have to come out with that cash to get your vehicle.
Has nothing to do with anything. Either it's a good buy or it's a bad buy. And it's a bad buy. You'd be far better off to put those number of dollars away if that's the way you feel. Become self-insured, which I'm sure you won't do. Furthermore, let's assume statistically half the time the other guy's at fault.
Yeah.
So you're going to collect from him.
Okay.
Isn't that true?
Yeah.
Furthermore, there's going to be a deductible involved, isn't there?
Right.
And furthermore, you're going to say, boy, I had the cleanest 79 Chevy in the world. The insurance company doesn't want to know from the cleanest 79 Chevy in the world.
Yeah.
A 79 Chevy is 6 years old. It's worth so many dollars. End of story.
Uh-huh.
They may give you a little more because it's a little bit cleaner.
Yeah.
It's a bad buy.
Okay.
Now, if you have a classic car, something that's worth a lot of money, if you're running around in a Bentley or a Rolls or a very expensive Mercedes or whatever, all bets are off because you still have the dollars to protect. But having collision insurance on a $2,000 car, in my opinion, is insanity. And you know the worst part of the whole thing?
What's that?
The same guy that carries that collision runs around with $50,000 or $100,000 worth of liability or less.
Is that right?
And that's what's a crime. How much liability do you have in your car?
$300,000.
I'd be afraid to ride with you. Furthermore, if I were you, I'd be scared to drive to work tomorrow morning. Not enough. Let me ask you a little bit about you, okay?
Uh-huh.
How old are you?
I'm 32.
Fine. Married?
Yes.
Rugrats?
Nope.
Okay. Buying a house?
No. Going to school.
Got any assets?
Just our household possessions.
That's it, huh?
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, you could go bankrupt. I'll give you that. But the last thing you need is a bankruptcy in your future. What are you studying?
Education.
Do you need that could affect your getting a job, couldn't it?
Yeah.
Going through a bankruptcy. And yet, if you went out and had a serious accident, how far do you think 300 G's would take you?
Yeah.
Not very far, right?
Right.
$1 million at the least. What would it cost you to buy another $1 million?
I'm not sure.
About $60, $70. Is
that right?
Umbrella policy, absolutely true. And what would it cost you to buy collision on an old relic? $50 or $60 to insure 2,000, right?
Yeah.
But you can get $1 million in liability for the same money. What's the better buy?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Case closed.
Okay.
I wish you well, my friend.
Thanks a lot.
I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around for more. This is Talknet. Kansas City, Kansas. Or is it, Kansas City, Missouri. My goodness, almost blew it. Hello there.
Hello, Bruce.
Had you on the wrong side of the street there.
Really enjoy your show.
Thank you.
I had some career advice I was seeking from you. I'm presently with a national firm involved in life insurance sales and mutual funds sales, and just liked it, except I wasn't crazy about the heavy degree of prospecting and was getting interested in...
That's part of the game in that business. It's a constant and never-ending quest. New prospects.
And I was getting more interested in the idea of looking into career opportunities in the financial planning field of fee financial planning.
Yeah.
And I was wondering if you'd give me some advice on...
Well, you got to have a huge bag. What is your background?
So far, I've been doing what I've been doing the last 2 years.
How old are you?
36.
Let me ask you a question. Are you rich?
No.
Why would I come to you for financial planning? The first thing I'd ask you is, how wealthy are you? If you haven't done it for yourself, how are you going to do it for me?
I was mainly interested in some kind of entry-level position with a firm like that.
We're back to the same thing. Unless first of all, I don't know of any firms that do that. There may be. Usually, there are firms, but they're usually run by the entrepreneur, the financial planner, the certified financial planner, whatever it happens to be, all right? But the point is that the first thing I want to know from one of these guys, if you're going to give me advice, first of all, have you taken your own advice? And are you pretty solid? No, rich is maybe it was a poor choice of terms, and I'll rephrase that. I certainly wouldn't want to talk to a guy unless he's worth at least $1 million. I mean, what? Because if he can't get his own $1 million, what's he going to do for me?
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yeah.
On a fee basis. In other words, you got to be an expert. And the way I want your career, I don't want to see a PhD. I don't want to see a whole string of academic credentials. Show me your bank account, man.
Well, the position I'm with has the potential to become wealthy through, a lot of hard work over the next 5 years.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. I just thought maybe there was...
Look, there are a lot of people out there doing what you're talking about.
Right.
But as I said, if you ever knock down my door, first thing I want to see is your credential.
Uh-huh.
Your credential for what you've done for you before you start telling me what to do. And I am firmly convinced that there's a very definite need for people to do what you've described.
Uh-huh.
Don't misunderstand me. As a matter of fact, if you listen regularly, you hear me recommend that.
Right. Uh-huh.
But I don't want some guy who's taking a course.
Yeah.
Because who taught the course? And how come he's not wealthy?
Uh-huh. So someone who just got a CFP designation...
I'm not knocking it. Would not be of any interest to me. Not unless he also had, as I said... Well, well, people have asked me, and I said, what would you rather have? A guy with 7 letters or 7 figures?
Mm-hmm.
What would you rather have, advising you?
Yeah, 7 figures.
You bet your life. I wish you will, my friend.
Okay, thank you.
Sacramento, California, your turn.
Hi, Bruce.
Hi.
Comment about a call from one of your callers last night about starting a business for developing and marketing beans that were not available in this country. CC beans.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Right, the man from Reno, Nevada.
Yeah.
Before he sinks any money into it, I think he'd better do a little more research. Right here in Sacramento alone, you can buy these things in large quantities already made up in many of these supermarkets, and I'm sure the situation can't be that dissimilar in Reno.
We had a call from Rochester, New York last night saying the same thing.
Right.
That somebody had beat him to the punch.
And even if there was an occasional individual there, if there was not a large Puerto Rican or Italian community, these are primarily through outlets that also deal a lot with Italian type of foods.
Uh-huh. What is the name of the bean again?
CC.
CC bean.
CCI.
Uh-huh. And they're eaten in this processed state?
Well, they come in jars or cans. One can cook them, or you could drain them off, use them in cold salads, marinate them, do whatever.
Uh-huh.
So I think he is really going on a fool's errand there. I think the competition is already well established.
He's a little late with a great idea, but a little bit late with it, huh?
Exactly.
I mean, Mr. Bell already invented the telephone.
You betcha.
Hey, thanks very, very much.
Can I make a quick comment?
Sure.
Your girl will skin me, I know, but regarding the lady that called in about her husband with the gallbladder disease that was being denied the claim. What he should do, there is a medical entity known as the silent gallstone, well established. A man may have no symptoms for years, suddenly have an acute attack, bingo, the need for emergency surgery. And unless there is stated in prior records by his physician, specifically a diagnosis of gallbladder disease or a suspicion of it, or somewhere in the symptomatology suggesting it, if it came by me as a medical insurance man, I am a physician. I would deny it on that grounds as a pre-existing condition. However, if there is no such thing, he can contest this readily.
Probably need some medical testimony.
Might.
Very well. Doctor, thank you so very much for your call.
Most welcome.
It's been a pleasure. I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around for more. Detroit, Michigan. Hello there.
Hi, how you doing?
I am well, thank you.
That's great. Me and my wife are starting to open up a variety of different accounts, either in mutual funds and with a broker-dealer.
Yep.
I was wondering how it would be best for us to register all this jointly, or should we have our own separate accounts as far as being sued one time?
What makes you think you're going to be sued?
Well, we're not going to be sued, but what would happen if, could they come after both of us? Or
it would depend upon the kind of an action. In some cases, they could not attach your wife's... If it was clearly... earned by her. In other words, if you're let's set up a scenario here, and I don't want to play lawyer because I'll get my ears pinned back.
Right.
Okay, you marry a girl 17 years old. Okay, she's never ever had a job, never inherited any money, and immediately she becomes pregnant, and that's the end of that. She keeps raising kids. All right. Now it would be pretty hard to make the case that she earned a portion of money you were trying to protect in a lawsuit, wouldn't it? On the other hand, another scenario, you get married, don't have any children for a while, or even during the time you're having youngsters, your wife is always working and bringing in funds. Well, then it would not be difficult to take a posture in the event of a suit that this was clearly money that she had earned by the sweat of her brow and was, in fact, separate from yours. But then you get involved in other things like, joint tax returns and a whole bunch of other stuff. As a practical proposition, I think, assuming you trust your wife, and you plan on staying married to her,
right?
Most people put things in both names. It makes it a lot less messy for a lot of things. Now, if you start making very, very big money, we'll come back and we'll talk about it again.
Oh, okay, but just as far as starting off,
I would say
jointly.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Good luck, Tiger.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Tampa, hello there.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, I was about to graduate out of high school, and I had joined the Army, and they put me on a delayed entry program.
Yep.
And they delayed me for a couple months, and now that I was going to go, I sort of got pressured in by the recruiter. He pressured a bunch of people in from where I go to school at.
Now you got some second thoughts, huh?
Yeah, and so I decided, I was on the program. If I graduate, I wouldn't go to the Army.
I'm sorry, say it again?
I was on the program I was on. They said I had to graduate and have a diploma in order to go in, right?
What do you try to do, flunk out so you don't have to go in?
Right.
What do you want?
And I did. Well, I dropped out, and I was going to go back to school next year. Well, this year started already.
Yeah.
And but my scores were too high on the test.
What test?
On the ASVAB test. You got to take a test for the Army and Air Force and all that.
So they're still going to want you to come in the Army, huh?
Right. And now that I don't have my diploma, they can't guarantee me none of my bonuses, where I'm going to go or anything. And I told them, well, I'm going back and get my diploma before I go on, go in.
And they said nothing doing, huh?
Right. They said they can't guarantee it to me still, even with my diploma now. And I told my recruiter that I'm not going to go.
What do you mean you're not going to go?
Well, I know. That's what I was trying to figure a way how to get out, because a couple of my friends that he pressured into, they got out somehow.
When you say he pressured, now, come on, how did he pressure you?
Well, he's always like, it just bothers you.
What do you mean bothers
you? Come on,
you?
look, you got a lot of good benefits here, and
well, he's a salesman. He's selling the Army. I don't hate him for that. And you succumbed to his salesmanship, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know what the answer to your direct answer is. Is there some way to obviate the contract that you entered into?
Right.
But how old are you?
18.
Well, you entered into a contract.
Right.
Well, how come you're getting cold feet?
I don't know. I was having second thoughts about going in. Well, really, if they could guarantee what I wanted, I'd still go in.
Yeah, but that's after the fact. I mean, you tried to screw up the whole thing by flunking out of school or dropping out of school, didn't you?
Yeah.
What'd your parents say about that?
Getting out of school?
Yeah.
They weren't too happy with it, but they told me, well, you see, I told you you had a decision to make about the Army. To either go or not, and you're the one who messed up.
Yeah, I think that's about the size of it.
Yeah.
Seems to, I mean, I don't know if there's some way that you can break that contract, and if you're really serious about it, you ought to see an attorney.
Okay.
I don't know the answer to that, but it sounds, were you ever sworn in?
Yes.
Oh, then you're in the Army then.
See, but a couple of my other friends did that too, and
how'd they get out?
I don't know. Both of them moved to Jacksonville.
They just moved?
Yeah. Well, no, they got out before they moved.
How did they get? Well, you were actually sworn in. You were in the Army now, right?
Right.
I think, man, you got a tour to do. Good luck.
All right.
Okay. Up 2, up 4. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet.
Something to share. Someone you know who will always be there. Tune in, turn on, Talknet. We care.
Hello there, how are you? I'm really pleased you stopped in on this holiday eve. I'm Bruce Williams. Welcome, my friends. Welcome to my world. Welcome to Talknet. Yeah, aside from a holiday eve and means happy birthday, America, it's happy birthday to the state of Idaho, 100 years old today. Our telephone number is 800-TALKNET, 800-TALKNET, if you'd like to give us a shout. Dragon Mass, it's your turn. Welcome to Talknet.
Oh, hi, Bruce. I just wanted to ask you a question concerning a tool shed.
Yes, sir.
Well, what the story is that actually this is my sister's shed, and yes, it is.
Well, that makes it different, of course.
Well, it just
anyway, go.
She started work on the thing. She hired a kid that does some work around the neighborhood here, and she planned on putting it in her backyard. He dug the holes, poured the footings. The thing was about 80% up. And it turns out that the next door neighbors were putting in a retaining wall today.
What's that got to do with her?
Well, the building inspector came by.
Oh, happened to be in the neighborhood. Huh?
Right. Yeah. And he happened to notice that the tool shed was going in, and pointed out that they hadn't taken a permit out on it.
Which is totally kind of improper.
Right. So she found that out.
Yeah.
So at any rate, the other problem is that evidently the shed is not supposed to be within 7 feet of the property line.
Mm-hmm.
The neighbors evidently don't mind.
Well, the neighbors have nothing to say about it. You have to meet the side yard, rear yards, front yard requirements. You got to meet whatever footing requirements are necessary and whatever. Or you got to go to the Board of Adjustment and seek a variance. But I don't think that's practical in this regard.
Mm-hmm. Well, the only problem is that the shed is nearly complete. He built the thing nice and solid. It's
what's it sitting on?
It's sitting. Well, he took some 4x4 posts on the corners, and he's got those set down into the concrete.
Well, that's probably highly illegal. He's got to cut those concrete posts off and do it all over again.
And move the shed, huh?
Yes, sir.
You don't see any other way around it?
Yeah, I do. I told you. You can go to the Board of Adjustment.
Mm-hmm. And you said it's impractical?
Well, for a shed, they're going to say, what is the compelling reason for not having this thing meeting the zoning requirements? Your turn. What is it? And don't tell me it's because the kid put the concrete in the ground because he acted improperly. That's no compelling reason.
I gotcha. And it wouldn't matter that the neighbors had no objection?
Has nothing to do. Well, the fact that the neighbors don't object would not be held against you, but it would not be a positive thing. That's what zoning is all about.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
No, I hear you. Well, live and learn.
So that the cheapest thing to do is to move the. How big a shed is this?
Well, it's pretty heavy. It's 8 by 12.
Yeah.
And you'd need to.
How far are you going to move it?
Probably got to go 4 feet over.
Well, it shouldn't be too hard to move. What I would do if it were me is I'd fix up a couple of rails, 4x4 rails. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
And I would marry them together so the rails were sitting there and secure those underneath the shed. You probably have to cut it off, then jack it up.
Mm-hmm.
Then secure the rails in place and just slide the thing to where you want it to go. And then those rails would also serve as the foundation until he puts the new 4x4s in. That shouldn't be too hard to do. And in order to provide the energy to do this whole thing, he could he rent a come-along. You know what that is?
You mean like a bobcat?
What's a bobcat?
It's a little tractor.
No. A little come-along is like a block and tackle, usually on chains.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
And you just have to anchor it to something over there, either the house or probably a car would do.
A tree, yeah.
Yeah, a tree. And just inch the thing along the rails that I've described.
All right.
It shouldn't be that hard to do.
All right. I wanted to mention you got me in trouble about 5 or 6 years ago.
How did I manage to do that?
Well, I was changing jobs at the time, and my boss recognized my voice even though I gave a fictitious town.
Yeah.
And the boss's brother actually started questioning me as it sounded like my voice.
And what happened?
Nothing really. I left anyway.
Okay. Good luck, kid.
All right, thanks.
Oh, my goodness. The tangled webs we weave. I'm Bruce Williams. And you bet. This is Talknet. Let's go now to Auburn, Washington. Your turn. Hello there.
Hi, what an honor to talk to you.
Well, aren't you sweet?
I have a problem, and I hope that you can help me out.
Let's talk.
My parents purchased a water refining system.
A water refining system? That sounds like a high-class water softener.
Well, 10 years ago, it was the top of the line, state-of-the-art, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
They purchased it, and before they could have it installed, the gentleman passed away.
But they bought this 10 years ago?
Yes.
A decade ago?
Right.
A lot of gallons ago?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead. When you were just running around in diapers.
I was.
I just about. I know. Well, let's make it pigtails. How's that?
Okay, now that's better.
Okay.
Well, it never got installed, and I moved to Washington, and we have some bad water here. My parents found this unit.
Well, it was sitting around the house 10 years later.
That's right. Never been used. Original cartons, original everything, including the warranty.
Yeah.
We shipped it down here to Washington. I had a gentleman come out today and tell me, oh, yes, it'll work for you. It's brand new. However, they won't honor the warranty.
Well, I can appreciate that.
Well, the warranty says from date of installation.
Yeah.
Now, it's never been installed?
I understand that, but I think a reasonable interpretation would not include 10 years later.
Even though the warranty is a 10-year warranty or a 15-year warranty?
I really think you'd have a tough time with that one.
I do.
A 15-year warranty?
On certain parts of it, 15 years, 10 years, 5 years. Depends on what part of it.
Certainly the 5-year and the 10-year I think you'd have a tough time with.
Mm-hmm.
you may be able to squeak something out of the 15. But as a real practical proposition, if it was stored properly, whatever, clearly the stuff that was warranted for 15 years is the most durable.
Uh-huh.
And since you only have 5 years after this time you purchased it, the likelihood is you're not going to have a problem with those things anyway.
Okay, well, let me ask this.
Yes, ma'am.
It's got okay, if certain parts need to be replaced, it's got the 11th year, you would pay 75% of current value, and that goes on. Is it reasonable to expect them to honor that?
I would think so. Have you written to the manufacturer?
No, I haven't. We're just starting this whole thing.
I would write to the manufacturer and explain the circumstance. Say, hey, this is unusual. But the reason my folks selected your company is because they were led to believe that you guys were really ethical.
Right.
And, some of that nature. Their reputation, you were top of the line stuff, and your reputation was so good. And then the installer died, so we just put it away and never did use it, and so on. And see what they have to say. Maybe the manufacturer will be very happy to prove how good their product is. I don't know. But I would make a federal case out of it. How much this thing cost originally?
Well, it cost them about $1,700, but the guy wants to charge me $1,500 to install it when my folks already paid to have it installed and it never got done.
Well, no, wait a minute. There's no way but the guy died who got that money.
Yeah.
But I can't. What in the world would cost $1,500 to install?
I don't know. That's just what he's saying.
Well, I think that...
I mean, I can practically buy his new unit for that.
Well, what is this? This is just a water softener, right?
It's a refiner.
What does that
Not
mean?
a softener.
Well, what does that mean?
It takes out all the impurities and everything. I don't know. It's a patented process.
Well, that's what a water softener does essentially. Is it conditions the water and takes out the impurities. I can't imagine why it would cost anything like that kind of dough to install. Well, you call one of the... First of all, I'd call the manufacturer and say, what should it cost to install this thing?
Well, see,
or just call up. Wait a minute.
They don't just install them, though, because they don't sell them separately.
What else do they do?
They only sell them installed.
Yeah, but my dear, though, I have to believe. Maybe I'm wrong, but I got to believe that a competent plumber could put this thing in.
Well, my husband could put it in.
Well, then go ahead.
That's not the problem.
What's the problem?
Well, then they won't honor any sort of warranty.
But they're not honoring
it. But they won't service it. They won't do anything with it.
They're not honoring a warranty anyway.
But they won't service it? I mean, they won't even have anything to do with it, and they don't sell them separately.
I would call the manufacturer and say, here's my situation, but if it's just is there any servicing required ordinarily?
There could be. Well, I suppose the resins or whatever need to be changed.
Well, I don't know. I'm asking you a specific question. Is there regular service? I have a water softener on my house. And every so often, the guy's got to come over and do something. I don't know.
Right.
Throw pixie dust on it or whatever. I don't know. I don't care.
Well, I have to plead ignorance because I don't know anything about it other than I'm stuck in the middle of this now.
Well,
and I don't know.
I'd write to the manufacturer and say, here's my situation. What do you suggest? The guy you're talking to is a dealer. He's not making anything in this transaction. He's left to make a buck.
That's right. He isn't going to make anything on it. Because if they won't honor the warranty, my husband will install it.
Indeed.
I mean, I guess that's the bottom line. But I guess I felt they should honor it. I mean, they still carry the product. They still carry the parts.
Right to the manufacturer. This guy has getting no piece of the action. Can you blame him?
No, not really. But
because he's only but my dear, don't you understand?
No, I guess I don't.
Well, let me try again then. What does your husband do for a living?
He's a construction superintendent.
All right, fine. He's working on a job, right? Suppose somebody came down the street and said, look, I'd like you to come down and take care of this job for me. We never built that. Doesn't matter. I want you to come down and supervise the repairs and so forth. He'd look at them like they had a hole in their head, wouldn't he?
But that's not under warranty.
Wait a minute.
Company warranty.
Hold it. The guy you're talking to does not work for the company.
Yes, he does. He's a dealer for this company.
He's a dealer. There's a big difference.
Well, he's an installer, dealer. He does the whole 9 yards.
Sorry, let's try again. You got a car. We'll say it's a Ford for the sake of discussion that you bought in New York City. And 10 years later, you go to a Ford dealer in Auburn, Washington, and say, I got a problem here. Does he have any responsibility to you? He's a Ford dealer, and he's got Ford out in front and so forth.
If the warranty was still in effect, but
the warranty is not in effect. You're asking for installation here and whatever.
Well, I guess if the warranty said
all right,
let's
I'm going to try again now.
Yeah,
go ahead.
If the warranty said from date of purchase, I would side with the man 100%.
I know what you're saying.
It says from installation.
But what you see, the problem with this scenario is, whether you want to understand this or not, is the guy that sold it to your parents made a profit. This guy only gets paid on things that he sells. He is not the manufacturer. He is the probably a franchised or licensed dealer for the manufacturer.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he's not going to do something for nothing 10 years after the fact.
Well, I guess that's where I feel that then the parent company, the person who produced the thing, should pay him for that. That's what they do if you redeem the warranty anyway, isn't it?
Not for the installation, though.
Okay, well, what about the rest of it?
But if he socks you $1,500 for the installation, suppose he said to you, look, I'll honor the guarantees prorated, but it's going to charge you $1,500 to install it. What are you going to say then?
Well, I'm not going to do that.
Exactly. Well, that's what that's what he would do. Okay. That's what apparently he is doing. If it were me, I'd write to the manufacturer and explain the circumstance. It is very unique, and see if they can help you in some way.
Okay.
Take good care, dear.
Thanks a lot.
I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around. I understand the point she's trying to make. But in the real world, unlikely it's going to fly. This is Talknet. Indianapolis, thanks for your call. What's on your mind?
Hi, Bruce.
Hello.
We're new home buyers.
Okay.
We're supposed to close the 16th of this month.
Congratulations. Welcome to the mortgage poor.
I know. Let me tell you, talk about welcome to the real world. I'm finding it out. Our new home is it's supposed to be supplied with carpeting and all this. We made carpet selections back in February.
Mm-hmm.
We went again in March. Then she called us back again because we had to make some changes. We went back.
What kind of changes?
Well, she said they no longer carried two of the colors that we had chosen.
Chosen what kind of colors? I mean, this is for what?
For our home. One for a master bedroom and one for a third bedroom.
Maybe I missed something. What is it we're talking about? The carpeting?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I don't think you said that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm just guessing here now. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. She showed us what she had left to offer, and we said, no, we don't like those. We made concessions on two of the vinyl styles, but on the carpeting we said, no. We want what we picked. We didn't hear any more from them. I got a call today from the company that will be doing the installation, asking about the changes. I said we're not going to make any changes. We already made two. We were not satisfied with what she had to offer, and we told her that. She said, well, that this couldn't be done. We would have to talk to someone else because there would not be enough time to order these.
Oh, too bad. Then there ain't going to be any closing.
But Bruce.
Well, Bruce.
Okay, we were supposed to close the end of June.
Let me explain something to you.
Okay.
It's a buyer's market out there today.
Yes.
Now you know that.
Uh-huh.
Do you have an attorney? I hope.
No.
Well, don't be. Then you're a fool.
Okay.
How you like that? Is that blunt enough?
Yeah.
How much you spending for this house?
Almost $77,000.
When was the last time you spent $77,000?
We never did.
That's exactly. Then you spend $300 or $400 for an attorney. Do yourself a favor. And in this case, your attorney writes a letter to the builder and says, there will be no closing unless my client is satisfied with the carpet. Your move. Trust me, in today's marketplace, he wants to close that deal. And he will move whatever he has to move to get the job done. But you're a pussycat and they're going to walk all over you.
I know. Okay, then let me ask you one other thing.
You have to ask me when we move around the corner. I'm sorry, I'm angry. You guys listen and you go out and do all this and you don't have representation and you wonder why you get burned. Stick around. I'm Bruce Williams for Talknet. I'm chatting with a young lady in Indianapolis, Indiana, and I picked on her. I don't apologize for that because she's going out and buying a house, getting walked on, doesn't have an attorney. You almost deserve what you get. Now, having said all that, we'll still be friends, hopefully.
Okay.
Now.
All right.
That developer.
Yes.
Wants to sell that house. Now, you see, they know how anxious you are.
Yes.
And they're going to play on that.
Yes.
They want to get in, they'll take whatever we stick them with.
Yes.
And your position is there's not going to be any closing. Our contract calls for thus and such.
Uh-huh.
Now, either you're going to get that, or you're going to make us happy with something else, or no closing.
But
every day that ticks off, it cost him money.
But it costs us, too, because the mortgage company, we're already paying now 16 days of interest. And
why are you paying 16 days of interest?
Well, see, they were supposed to close the end of June.
What does that got to do with anything? The money didn't change hands. You don't pay interest until the money changes hands.
Yes.
What do you mean, yes? You don't pay any interest now.
No, but we're going to be 16 days past closing.
So what? You don't pay until the money changes hands.
Yes.
Well, what do you mean, yes?
I don't understand.
You didn't borrow the money yet. Therefore, you're not paying any interest on the money yet.
Okay.
There's no 16 days past closing, therefore you owe 16 days interest. There's no interest here. The money's still sitting over the bank.
Oh. But the way the mortgage company explained it to me, that if we don't close by the 16th of July, we will have already be charged for 16 days of interest.
Nonsense.
That's not true.
That's not true. Can't charge you for the money until it's changed hands, unless they've given money to the builder on an advance of some kind.
No, as far as I know, they haven't done that. But, Bruce, we've had war with them, and we've made concessions, and...
I understand that. You've probably made concessions you shouldn't have made. I wouldn't make any more. You're going to have to live with this carpeting for a long time. And you want what you want. You want what you selected. But for pity's sake, tomorrow's a holiday. Thursday, go out and buy yourself an attorney, will you please?
Yes.
And have him handle this, or her handle this.
Yes.
This doesn't require Clarence Darrow. You don't have to go out and get the same guy that defended Mrs. Marcos. Not necessary. You just need an ordinary guy that can handle this. It shouldn't be a big deal. But just bear this in mind. That developer wants the deal as badly as you do. I'm assuming that these houses aren't selling like hotcakes on a picnic, are they?
I don't think so.
No, there's no place in the country they are, to my knowledge. Right now, it's a buyer's market. Take advantage of that.
So really go after him.
You're not going after him. You're just getting your due. But don't let me ask you something.
Yes.
When was the last time you saw a doormat walked on when it was nailed to the side of the barn?
I haven't.
You got to lay down to get walked on.
Yeah.
So get up.
Okay.
Make that phone call and have a nice holiday.
Oh, thank you, Bruce.
I wish you well, sweetheart.
All right.
I never heard of such a thing, paying interest on money you didn't have or hadn't been advanced. That's silly stuff. I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around for more. This is Talknet. Oh, I'm being hand-walked through this next name. Lidditz, Pennsylvania. Hello there.
Hello. Hi, Bruce.
Hi. We can thank Stu for that because I was going to murder your name.
Oh, you did a good job with it.
What's on your mind?
Okay. I'm in businessman. I have a retail business in Lidditz, Pennsylvania. And we have several Yellow Page companies in our area hawking their wares.
Several?
Oh, yes.
I mean, you have the main...
The main two plus a few more.
What main two?
Bell, Donnelly.
I thought they were one and the same.
No, they're different now in our area.
Okay.
Plus a few others. Anyway, what's happening is I've just wondered, since you, evidently from listening to you, sounds like you've been in business before.
I'm still.
And in a multi-Yellow Page market like this, just how effective, in your opinion,
I've never been in a multi-Yellow Page market. The only thing that's even close to that in our area is there is one community telephone Yellow Pages in a neighboring community, but we don't do much business there, so I don't take out an ad in that one.
Okay, well...
I just advertise in the main, direct to the Bell circulates.
Okay.
So I've never been in that position. I don't know what the penetration is. I am told in this neighboring community that the community book is read more closely than the Bell book. You know, they've done a good job in, circulating it and doing nice things in town and whatever. I don't know that to be true. That's what I've heard. As I said, I think I did advertise it some years ago at a business that did do some business in that neighborhood. But we have to run ads in several Yellow Pages because you know how they gerrymander the districts around. They really stick it to you. But they are all Bell Yellow Pages as contrasted with private ones. I've never used a private one.
Okay, well, here's the situation. I've been advertising in two of the majors.
Right.
The past couple of years, I've decided for this year I'm going to revise my ad, do it over, and I had a professional artist come up with a very nice design for me.
Okay.
Submitted it to Company A, no problem. Company B, submitted to her with the contracts and everything. First of all, I asked for an ad kit from both of them.
Right.
So I knew I was up against size and certain whatever restrictions were supposed to apply. Submitted the ad to Company B, and have been informed just this past week that the ad is not acceptable because it doesn't meet some standards which they never really told me about.
What standards does it not meet?
Well, the address and the telephone number is in reverse type in the background, and it's at an angle, which the whole ad was laid out at an angle. It's quite striking and effective. And they're saying they can't run it for that particular reason. There's nothing that has to do with the printing process or anything like that.
What, I mean, it just doesn't. They don't allow canted ads. Is that it?
They don't like it. And they've offered me some alternatives. Had their art crews come up and doctor up the ad, and it looks like a Band-Aid job what they did to it. I wasn't happy with it. And what happens is they're going to press within the next week or so. I'm going on vacation, so I really don't have a whole heck of a lot of time to devote to
Well,
this.
your alternatives are go along with your choice of terms Band-Aid process, don't give them your business at all, or go with something very, very elementary that they can just typeset.
Well, I've come to a conclusion. I just wondered if you had any experience in a multi-yellow page market where, how effective it is to advertise in all of the books that are there.
The question is penetration.
Well, they both claim equal penetration and cover same basic geographic areas.
Well, if I were in that situation, I would run 2 different ads so I could key the business so I'd know which one was working.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, why? If they have equal penetration in the marketplace, then it would appear that one or the other should be sufficient. But which one? That's why I would run different ads in each one.
That's an interesting
Maybe I'd key them to a different telephone number, for example, so I knew that if this phone number rang, that came from that book. If that phone number rang, it came from another, even if it means putting a couple extra lines in.
Okay, I have never done anything like that personally, but I've known some businessmen in the area who have 2 different phone lines, have tried that, and they claim it doesn't seem to make much difference one way or the other from their say. So, I'm just...
Well, the point is, you see, if Mrs. Jones always goes to directory A, you ain't never got a shot at her if you're only in B. You don't have a shot.
Mm-hmm.
If Mrs. Jones only has B, you don't have a shot if you're only in directory A. But I don't know if either of those situations obtains. Now, the only reasonable way I know to find out if I'm spending money for advertising, and I recommend this to our advertisers here, key the stuff, find out if it's working. If it works, fine. If it doesn't, let's try something different.
Okay. I like that idea of 2 separate ads. But again, I feel that I have been more or less put on the spot by this phone company not giving me all the information.
I don't disagree, but there's not much we can do about that now.
No, there isn't really. So it's just a matter of, I guess, either changing some things around. I do have my artist I can call, and he can make some proofs ready for me for next week. But I just thought maybe you or some of your listeners may have some...
Well, if a listener wants to comment, I'd be delighted to listen.
Feedback, because...
But I think it's true.
It's a little frustrating. I've done a couple little surveys myself. One thing is right after the phone books are delivered, I go down to the recycling center, see what they're throwing away.
Well, that's a good point.
And, it's 6 of one, a half a dozen of the other.
Well, in that case, you made it. That's like, should you advertise in the morning or afternoon newspaper?
Mm-hmm.
Well, in some cases, you got to do both.
Yeah.
Should you advertise on a rock station or a talk station? Either or. Sometimes you got to do both.
Mm-hmm.
Depends upon who you're shooting for. And again, I hate to use the same word, but who's got the penetration?
Okay.
I wish you well, my friend.
Okay, thank you.
Enjoy that vacation in any event.
I will do that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Orlando, home of the wild mouse. Hello there.
Yes, greetings from Mickey Land.
Yes, ma'am. Would you believe that the mouse rail is going to be in New York this weekend?
Oh, really?
Yeah, they took one of the monorail cars and turned it into a vehicle, and it's running around the city.
We're kind of excited about Universal around here right now, though.
Uh-huh.
I have a question. I think I got it down to make this long story short. My husband and I became new homeowners on May 4th.
Well, congratulations. Welcome to the mortgage pool.
Don't congratulate us yet. Okay, mortgage company 1 paid the title company after the closing.
What do you mean paid the title company?
I guess they paid them for the mortgage. The amount of the mortgage is from what we understand of what they've told us.
May I assume we did not have a lawyer?
Not at the first. Not at the first.
Either you did or you didn't.
No.
Okay.
Okay. The title company paid the builder. Then the mortgage company's check that they paid the title company with bounced. And then the first mortgage company that we had a mortgage with proceeded to file for bankruptcy.
Check bounced.
Yes.
That's a first.
Yes.
Okay.
Then we knew nothing of this until a new mortgage company, this is mortgage company number 2, called us up saying that we never closed because the paperwork never got to FHA. It's an FHA loan.
Mm-hmm.
And
so you're in your house, but you never closed?
Yes, for 2 months now. And the new mortgage company said they wouldn't qualify us with what the first mortgage company qualified us with.
Why?
Because of FHA rules, they say the other mortgage company took shortcuts. We said, well, that's not our fault. Technically, we have papers at home. So anyway, the title company, now we get a letter from the title company. If you don't produce enough information for them to qualify you, we will proceed to sue you for the balance of the mortgage.
Do we have an attorney yet?
At this point, we have an attorney.
Go ahead.
The attorney took over from there, and then he arranged for, they all of a sudden wanted to go ahead and qualify us. We're qualified now. And we have a closing date set, but this is not a new closing. This is considered a refinanced mortgage. The day of the closing, they canceled the appointment and said the expiration date ran out.
On the commitment.
Right.
Oh, dear Lord.
Okay. We do not hear anything from them for a week. So I called the mortgage company, and he said, well, I don't know anything about it. I'll, give your loan off.
You should not be making that call.
Well, at this point, the attorney had said everything was fine to go ahead and sign the documents. You go ahead and schedule a closing, which we scheduled the closing, and he
when the
thought
scheduling he wasn't going to go to the closing with you?
No, he reviewed the documents.
That's not right. That's wrong. He should be at the closing.
With us?
Yes, ma'am. Suppose they throw something at you there in the middle of the closing. There's a document there that you don't realize wasn't reviewed.
Right.
Your attorney is dead wrong, and I'll be willing to argue that with any attorney who wants to get on here.
Okay. We called.
She's taking shortcuts, in my opinion.
Okay. The mortgage company called us back now and said, you have no business closing. We haven't approved you yet. At which point I called the attorney and said, what's going on? They say they haven't approved us, and we're about a month away from closing. So that's at the point we're at right now.
In this instance,
right.
You shouldn't be making any phone calls, you shouldn't be returning any phone calls, and you certainly shouldn't be signing anything. Everything should be approved by your attorney.
Right. We haven't signed anything. What I'm wondering is the attorney's fees now for about a month and a half have gone up they're getting close to $1,000 now.
Man, that sounds a little high to me, too.
Well, the mortgage company says we're probably still about another month away from closing. If this drags out...
Depends on what he has to do. He's getting paid by the hour, I assume.
Right. He's put like 6 or 7 hours so far. I know he's had to make a lot of phone calls and review documents and things, but is there any recourse we have as far as...
The only guilty party is the guys that went bankrupt.
Right.
But it would here's another case. If he had been involved...
Someone to count on, a friend you can turn to, someone to share with, because that's what friends do. Someone to listen, Talknet, someone who cares.
Alrighty, it's our turn again. You bet your life. It's time for Talknet on 550 WLW. We talk to you, with you, and about you, so you better stick around. Hey, you'll know what the neighbors know if you do. I'm Bruce Williams. It's great to have you here on Talknet Cincinnati. Welcome to my world. Welcome to Talknet. I do want to thank all you guys and gals that joined us for a little recording interlude today. It gives me a chance to travel, as I am going to be doing. Yes, indeedy. Next couple of weeks, I'm on the road. I'll be flying tomorrow. Mickey the Mutt and I will be climbing on our commuter flight tomorrow, our 1,000-mile commute. And then Saturday, we're off and running toward our Alaskan adventure. Monday through Monday, we'll be on the cruise ship. Then we'll be in Fairbanks, Alaska with KFAR and Hugh Smith and company doing our thing in Fairbanks. So we've got an exciting 2 weeks, and we'll do our best to share those 2 weeks with you and all the highlights. Alrighty, Fall River, Mass. You're number one. Hello there.
Hi, Bruce.
Hi, how you doing?
I have a problem with my automobile insurance. A couple of days ago, my car was involved in a hit and run. It was parked in front of our house. The guy hit it and just took off, and to this point, they haven't found him. The car is a 1986 automobile, and I dropped the collision insurance on it this year.
Well, that makes sense.
Well, I called the insurance company. The car is totaled. I mean,
Well, then it's on you. The insurance company's not in the act.
Please?
Your insurance company is not in the act.
What do you mean it's not in the act?
They have nothing to do with this.
But the car is totaled. I have no recourse at all.
Well, why would you have recourse?
I don't know. I just thought, since nobody was in the car, and it was...
Well, it has nothing to do with anything.
Yeah.
Either you pay for, and I think you did the wise thing. You might have been a couple years late, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But you did the wise thing. That you say, well, I lost my... Yeah, it's true. You became self-insured and you lost.
Right.
But over a period of time, you'll be ahead.
Yeah.
But if you don't have collision and the car is hit,
It's on you.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no other way to put it. There's the end of the story. What else is there to say?
I mean, unless they find the guy, but
well, that's it. But that has nothing whatever to do with your insurance company.
I'm saying, my next question is, how long do I sit with the car waiting to see if they find the guy that did it?
Oh, get it done.
What's that?
Get it done.
Yeah.
Get the car repaired.
Yeah.
There's no point in waiting for that.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
No.
I mean, this is not exactly a hot item on the police blotter.
Right.
A car that gets belted, an old car that gets belted in a parking lot. I mean, it's tough for you. I'm not laughing at you.
I know.
But it is not if it was a brand new car, it wouldn't be a hot item.
Right.
They got bigger fish to fry.
Right. Well, thank you.
Okay, you just became self-insured and lost.
Yeah. I took a chance.
Well, but no, you didn't. You took a chance, sir. But let's explore that so you don't go away feeling as badly as you might. You were paying an exorbitant amount of money for collision insurance on an elderly automobile. It makes sense to become self-insured. Now, self-insured means you have losses from time to time.
Right.
But if you start adding up the money you're going to save on premiums, how much was that car worth? Now, I don't care. Please don't tell me, but to me, it was worth a fortune. If you threw an ad in the local paper, how much would it have sold for?
About $2,500.
All right. And how much can you sell a carcass for now?
Oh, it's the frame is bent.
You can sell it for something. There's an engine in there. There are parts there are crash parts that can be. It has a junk value. How much?
I don't know. I have any idea.
500 maybe.
Maybe.
All right. Let's say five. You have $2,000 loss.
Mm-hmm.
How much did collision insurance cost? Collision and comp.
I think it was about 500.
All right. And you had how much deductible?
I had a $300 deductible.
All right. So you at max, I'm going to go the max route. You'd have collected $2,300.
Yeah.
You'll still have your money back in 3 years. A little over.
Okay.
I do wish you well.
Thank you.
I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. All righty. I got a trivia question. I'm not going to I don't want you to say where you're calling from, but what is one of the most noteworthy attributes or qualities of the city you're calling from? Do you know?
Hello?
Hello. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
What is it?
The World Trade Center.
Nah, that's not Brooklyn. You're calling from Brooklyn, New York, and the World Trade Center is in Manhattan.
Brooklyn Bridge.
Nope.
I don't know.
You got more churches per person, as I understand it. It's called the City of Churches.
Oh, really? I didn't.
Yeah, Brooklyn, and Brooklyn is only a borough of New York City, and as a standalone, would be the 7th biggest city in the country.
Oh.
My goodness gracious! All this trivia wasted. Anyway, what's on your mind, dear?
No, not wasted. Well, this is my question. My roommate and I want to sublet a rent-stabilized apartment.
Well, you got to explain what that means to the rest of the world. The rest of the world doesn't suffer from the craziness Brooklyn and New York City has.
Well, so there's a tenant, and we want to...
Oh, wait a while. What I'm trying to get to is the rest of the world and the rest of the country is not saddled with rent stabilization and rent control and all that sort of jazz that you guys have in New York City. So why don't you tell people what rent stabilized means?
Well, I think it means that the rent can't go up every year like an astronomical amount.
Well, it can be increased by certain percentages.
Certain percentage, right.
Yeah.
A pretty low percentage, maybe.
Yeah, artificially low. Given the fact there are many more renters than there are landlords in your city, the people that run that place during World War II decided to put these controls in place and left them there because they're politically popular, but it's killing New York City.
Yeah, that's what
it's killing the city. Pardon me?
That's what my dad says too.
It is. It's killing the city because what people are doing, it doesn't encourage decent housing.
Right.
It discourages it. Anyway, go ahead. So you want to rent this place, and you are restricted in sublettings to some degree because it is rent stabilized.
Right. Well, see, the tenant, and we signed this agreement saying that we were paid the rent every month and that we'd leave a deposit and that we would follow all the regulations in the tenant's lease. And so she got it certified, and then she mailed it off to the landlord. And the landlord, and I think it was 40 days later, sent her a letter saying that she wasn't able to do that for 3 reasons.
What were the 3 reasons?
The 3 reasons were that they wanted to rent to a family member, and that she had left the premises before we subletted. She had gone to another apartment, and also that she was in default of her lease.
Yeah, what they're trying to do is break the rent stabilization and put it in the free market. That's what they're trying to do.
Right. They want to do that.
Well, I don't blame them.
Right.
Neither do you, but you want the apartment.
Right. Exactly. So the tenant said that if we move in July 1st, like it was written in the contract for 2 years, whatever, that we would probably get an eviction notice the first 10 or 15 days.
Probably so.
Right, and then go to court the second, by the end of the month or something like that. Mm-hmm. Now, she had problems with the landlord because she had, all these problems with the buzzer system didn't work, and there was...
Okay, so where are we going with this, sweetheart?
Well, the point is that the landlord, she had taken him to trial, and the landlord passed away. The
sucker died. Huh?
Yeah.
That was a nasty thing to do, wasn't it?
Yeah. So nothing went through, and but the landlord started harassing her. So she had like.
Well, wait a minute. The landlord died. There's not much harassing going on there.
Like a year beforehand.
All right. So where are we going with this?
Well, I want to know if we should move in.
I wouldn't if I were you. You're making a down payment on a big problem.
Right. It sounds like a big problem.
You're going to just get yourself in the... What's happening here is the landlord wants out.
Right.
Now, I can't hate him for that.
Right.
But why do you want to inject yourself? If you were there and you were in, so you're in. But there's an ample number of apartments available now in your part of the world. Or, well, maybe that's not true.
Yeah, it really isn't.
There are apartments, but they're not as many as there should. But the rents are artificial. But the rents are low, though.
No, they're really expensive.
Well, it depends upon how you define expensive. In relation to the value of the buildings, they are low.
Right. Yeah.
As a Manhattan landlord, I can tell you that's true.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it may sound like a lot of money for the apartment.
Right.
But it still costs more money to maintain than the people are paying in rent.
Yeah. So, do you have any available apartments at your place?
No, dear, I do not. And what are you prepared to pay a month?
I don't know, maybe, well, it's me and my roommate.
Yeah.
So maybe $350 a month.
Well, and happily, the kind of numbers that they're looking for in Manhattan are like $2,000, $3,000 a month.
Yeah, that's why we're in Brooklyn.
I understand that. Yeah. And that sounds like a tremendous, and it is a lot of money, no question about that.
Right.
But the problem is that the cost of maintaining buildings in those areas is so exorbitant.
Right.
I mean, the monthly maintenance fees can exceed what you're discussing for each of you. $700-800 a month is not a whole lot of money just for maintenance.
Right.
In Manhattan, it's crazy.
So if we do get, say, I don't think I'm going to move in, but
I would not if I were you.
Yet once we get the eviction and say it goes through,
then you got to fight it.
We have to fight it. And how long do we get there in the apartment before we move out?
I don't know the answer to that.
Right.
I really don't know, but I really think you'd do yourself a major league kindness.
Right.
If you'd look for another apartment.
Yeah.
You're just buying into a hornet's nest, and you sound like a night. How old are you guys?
We're 25.
Okay. Do you need that aggravation in your life?
Not really.
Not really. Do you commute to Manhattan every day?
Yeah.
Oh boy, that's a killer. How do you get there? Subway?
Subway.
Oh, lots of luck. I did that for a long time.
Really?
But no more.
Right, you're lucky.
Yeah, well, that's true. I am very, very fortunate. There's no question about that.
Mm-hmm.
I do wish you well, sweetheart.
Okay, thank you very much.
Good talking to you. I'm Bruce Williams. I am indeed. And, of course, this is Talknet. Anchorage, Alaska. Hello there.
Hello.
Hi, we're going to be coming through your town, but not stopping in a couple of weeks.
Well, thanks for taking my call.
Oh, you're welcome. What's on your mind?
What's on my mind is I'm considering buying a motorhome, and I have a friend who has a legitimate business here in town and has told me that he can get a motorhome for me at dealer cost. And I'm concerned that I might lose some warranties or guarantees or something.
Well, he can get it at dealer. First of all, how can he do that?
Well, he has a business that will allow him to do that.
What kind of a business?
I'd rather not say that if you don't mind. I could tell you off the air.
Well, tell Danny off the air because I have a problem with what you're talking about. To you, Dan, listen to this lady and just tell me what kind of a business that her friend has off the air, and we'll see where we go from there. I'm kind of riding around with one hand tied behind my back. Okay, fine. All right, go ahead. I see what you're talking about, but go ahead.
Yes. Well, I'm concerned about losing guarantees or warranties, or would there be a problem with this that you would?
I don't know. Who's going to do the servicing if something goes wrong?
Well, that's what I don't know, and that's.
I mean, if it's a motor home,
yeah,
you got a couple of people involved. You got the manufacturer of the automobile part of the thing, and you've also got the people who did the customizing. And that's two separate people. You realize that, or do you realize that?
Yes, I did. I know that the motor is made by one person and the coach is made by someone.
Well, not the motor, the frame, the wheels, transmission,
and the chassis. Okay.
All that's made by the manufacturer. You know, Ford, Chevrolet, who knows? And then and then a customizer does the rest of it. Would I be comfortable with that? That's what you're asking me?
Yes.
No.
Oh, okay.
No. You see, that the dealer, there's a dealer for this this organization up there, right?
Yes.
They're entitled to a profit, and you're trying to cut them out of that profit, or your buddy is.
Yeah.
Or when it comes time for service, who do you think they're going to look at? They may have to service it, but if you think you're going to get decent service, let me put it another way: if I owned that agency, I wouldn't give you good service. I'd give you, let me rephrase that. You'd get decent service, but you'd sure wait for it. But in front of my customers that paid the appropriate price.
I see.
If you owned it, wouldn't you do the same thing?
Well, I've never had that experience.
Well, what kind of business? How do you make your money?
I'm retired.
Well, what did you do to make your money?
Sorry, I worked for the state of Alaska.
Well, that's people that work for government. You haven't got the profit incentive.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I can't use an analogy is what I'm trying to get to.
Yeah.
But if you owned a business and somebody was trying to do an end run around you, you're not going to feel too friendly toward them, are you?
Probably not.
How much money can this guy save you?
I'm not sure about that, but I think it's going to be somewhere around $5,000.
That much?
I'm not sure. I think so.
That's an important amount of money. Is he willing to undertake the service end of the thing?
No, he will not.
I mean, he won't take it in and that sort of thing.
I don't believe so. I don't believe that his business would allow that. I just don't think that.
How is he going to get the thing in your name?
We haven't discussed all that yet.
Well, $5,000 is certainly not to be sneezed at, is it? It's a lot of money.
No, it isn't.
How much is the motorhome going to cost?
I don't know. In the neighborhood of somewhere between $35,000 and $45,000.
Boy, you're buying a nice motorhome, aren't you?
It'll be a nice one, yes.
$5,000 is not to be sneezed at. We can agree on that. But on the other side of that, particularly in a small town such as you're in, and Anchorage is a small town.
Yes.
And you've only got one place to go. You can't drive to Fairbanks if you don't like Anchorage.
Right.
If there's only one guy servicing those things, I would be reluctant to do what you're describing. Now, I might get down and try to cut a little sharper deal with him, but I'd be reluctant to do an end run around him because when it comes time for service, I'm not going to tell you he's going to shortchange you, but he's certainly going to take care of all his regular customers. You'll be the last one in line. I do wish you well. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. Alrighty, let's go to Peoria, Illinois. Hello there.
Hi, Bruce.
Hello, sweetheart.
Exciting. You know so many things about so many things.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
My husband and I are thinking about a cruise to Alaska starting August 19th.
And how come you're not going with me next week?
Well,
it's terrible.
I'm sure. We actually hadn't planned this, and Sunday I just happened to see an advertisement in the paper for 50% off, so that caught my eye.
50% off. That's pretty good. How much is it going to cost?
It's going to cost $14.83 per person, and that includes air out of Chicago.
That's cheap.
Well, that's what I thought, and that's why I'm calling. My first question is the size of the boat. It looks like from the brochure like there's 2 or 3 boats that do this 7-day, and this is the smallest. It has almost 900 passengers. And my question is, do we lose a lot of the amenities by going on a smaller boat?
No, I think in many cases you pick them up, but that's a pretty good sized boat.
Oh.
900.
Okay.
Some of the smaller vessels are a lot more expensive.
Oh.
But the amenities on the smaller ones are just maybe that's not even a fair statement. I did a cruise to Alaska 5 or 6 years ago. I was working on a cruise as I am this one, and it was a pretty good sized vessel. But as I recall, it was $10,000 a shot up ahead for that one. That was pretty. Pardon me?
Now I'm really worried.
That was a pretty good sized ship. The cruise that I'm going on next week was about $6,500 a couple. So for $3,000, that is dirt cheap. Now either they're not selling. I would tell Danny, I don't want to tell Dan off the air what the name of the cruise line is. Dan, if you just whisper this in my ear, maybe I'll have some idea what we're talking about here. Because there are some very ethnic cruise buys. Yeah, I know the one you're talking about. That's polyester. And there's nothing wrong with polyester.
What does that mean?
Well, it's the lower end of the cruise business. But there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with it. How old are you guys?
43 and 51.
Okay. Well, I'm trying. How do you put this gently? There's a tremendous range in cruises going to the exact same places. And for example, I'm trying to put this in a nice way, okay? But it sounds like you're a snob, and maybe I am. All right. I was on a cruise here several cruises ago that I worked. The cruise ship I worked on. All right. And people were coming to dinner with open shirts and shorts. Well, that's just unheard of on a good ship. On a good ship, they wouldn't let you in the dining room. On a good ship, you'd wear a tie and a jacket to dinner. Lunch and breakfast, you dress any way you want to. But for dinner, at a minimum, a tie and a jacket on the gentlemen, and pantsuits or a nice-looking dress and whatever on women. But on the lower end stuff, they let a lot of kids go and so forth, and they will tolerate that.
So you think this would be more casual?
Casual's not the word. That's slobs. Casual. I mean, really, you're supposed to be. It's supposed to be a dining experience. Would you go to a good restaurant dressed that way?
No.
Well, I would neither, and I don't think.
Dress differently on vacation, though. But I haven't been on a cruise.
Yeah, for breakfast and lunch.
I haven't been on.
But for supper, you're supposed to dress fair. I mean, casual is one thing, but being a slob is something else. Again, in my opinion, I think people run around in shorts and open shirts and sandals in a good dining room are slobs. It's offensive.
Okay.
But you find that they are a lot more relaxed on the lower end ships. That's all. And that may be fine for a lot of folks.
Yeah. That wouldn't bother me. I basically want to see the scenery and enjoy the cruise experience.
Well, but you see, that's what you don't get in that situation. That's exactly what you don't get, the cruise experience. That's what I'm trying to get to.
Okay.
They're just certain social amenities which are important, in my opinion, are important. And I don't think it's a big deal to ask a man to wear a suit or a jacket. And I don't think it's appropriate that women wear certain kinds of clothing.
One of my biggest questions are about the side trips. I wondered what you recommended.
Well, it would depend on you, really. I don't go on many. I take trips, but I go on my own, as contrasted with booking them through the cruise. Now, if you're the kind of person that would like to have everything done for you, and there's nothing wrong with that, then by all means let them book them for you. You can go on sightseeing flights, and you can go out to the glaciers and out on the water and all sorts of good things. And that's all. I don't put any of those things down. I prefer to go out and do them on my own. To maybe team up with, when I go, sometimes there are a number of people go with me, which is kind of nice. We have our own group. But in the event that they don't, if I have gone, that Alaska cruise is all by myself, the last one. But you team up with some other people and you rent a cab or rent a car and a driver, and you kind of have your own private cruise or private touring is what I'm trying to get to.
This one goes from Anchorage, College Fjord, Columbia Glacier, Sitka, Skagway.
And then winds up in probably in British Columbia.
Vancouver?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you go 7 days up, 7 days back. You can start and end. You're starting out in Seward, actually, not in Anchorage.
Right. Yeah.
That's a nice trip. It's a nice trip, and I'm sure you'll have a good time. 900 is I could probably guess the ship I know the line. I could probably guess the ship that you're on. And it's not a bad line. Don't misunderstand me. I've been on 2 or 3 of their cruises. It's just the middle grade. That's all.
Yeah. Okay.
If you were to go out of the Caribbean, you can spend as little as probably $1,000 a head, and as much as $4,000 or $5,000 a head. Now, I would be more comfortable somewhere in the middle of the two.
How about the weather? The week?
You're gonna find that are you gonna spend some time in Alaska itself?
Just on the cruise.
Well, then you're gonna bring some sweaters.
Okay.
It's gonna be cool. When you go out in Prince William Sound, you're gonna be cold.
Okay.
There's gonna be ice floating around that water, and it's chilly. When you're on the land, it's gonna be warm in the 70s in the daytime, probably in the 40s, 50s in the evening, late evening, because you know you're going. It's still gonna be pretty light out at night. The sun will go down to 11 o'clock at night when you're there. You're aware of that, are you not?
Pardon?
The sun won't go down until about 11 o'clock at night.
Oh, long day.
And it comes up about 4 in the morning, 3 in the morning at that time of the year, something like that. It could be off a little bit. The days are getting longer, or the nights are getting longer now. You know, with as of June, 21st, something like that. But you're still going to have a long days, and it's an interesting experience because it's really have long twilights that none of us are accustomed to until you get to that part of the world.
Well, I haven't done north at all, so this is very exciting.
I think you're going to have a great time. I really do.
Do you recommend any side trips like the glaciers or?
Oh, you ought to go out to the Mendenhall Glacier. I think they'll probably offer you.
Columbia?
Columbia, okay. Yeah, I'd go out to one of them. If you haven't done it, by all means, I would do that.
What about the air flight? I heard you not recommend.
No, it depends. I have no problem with those guys in decent weather, but I mean they fly in weather that I'm not comfortable in.
I see. So if the weather's bad, don't go.
Well, I didn't say that. I wouldn't go. When the ducks are walking, I'm right there next to the duck. And some of those fellas, they're very competent pilots. Please don't misunderstand me. But they fly in weather that I wouldn't consider flying in, and not necessarily as a pilot, but as a passenger. I'm just, and God knows I'm not as safety oriented as most people.
I see.
But I just am not comfortable flying around with 200-foot ceilings, that sort of thing.
I see.
But that's me.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit of knowledge is a dangerous thing. And if what I said before sounds snobby, I guess maybe it is. But I just think that there is a time and a place for everything. And if you're not prepared to dress reasonably well, I don't think you belong in a decent restaurant. And get room service or go to the midnight buffet or whatever. But I think that takes away. You said you want to go for the cruise experience, and part of that is the ambiance that goes with a cruise experience. Maybe I'll even skip the tie for a guy, but at least a jacket, at the very least, not an old sweater, and certainly not shorts and thongs.
So the restaurants are nice, even if the boat is small?
Oh yeah. Well, that's not so small.
Okay.
Believe me, the one I'm going on is half the size.
Well, the pictures in the book, the smaller the boat gets, the smaller the description. So,
say that again?
Well, on some of the other boats, it says like 3 whirlpools and all this.
Would you go in a whirlpool?
I don't know.
Well, I wouldn't.
Is it outside?
It's not a question of outside or inside. In today's world, with the diseases that are floating around, you couldn't get me into a public whirlpool.
Oh, well, that I will do.
You will do?
Yeah.
The whirlpool?
Uh-huh.
No, not me. Well, it's up to you. No. That's too confined, too small a water, too warm. I don't care how many chemicals you put in there. You wouldn't get me into one of those. Not today.
Okay. My travel agent, who now I'm using travel agents now, you've always recommended them. She said that the entertainment on all the boats is the same.
It's about the same. It's not great. It ain't great. Of course, on our cruise, I'm the entertainment, so of course it's great. We don't only teasing, but you know what I'm saying. It's okay. It's the young kids. Generally speaking, they have about 9 different jobs, and they probably appear 2 or 3 times in the course of the week, and it's okay. It's not Broadway, but it's okay. It's fun. You go to have a good time. That's what it comes down to. You go to the casino. You don't go to make a killing. You go to play a little bit and have a good time. You go to relax, and that you'll do. And you got to watch the calories, kid, because they'll stuff you like a French goose. Every time you turn around, there's more food, and the food is uniformly decent. Have a great trip. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. Rochester, New York. Hello there.
Hi. How are you?
I am well, thank you. What's on your mind?
I'm 21 and my husband is 27. And
oh my goodness gracious, he's a cradle robber.
And we have an 8-month-old daughter. Now, I was wondering when the proper time to write up a will would be.
Got to be kidding me. What's your first name?
My name is Dina.
All right, Dina. Terrible question to ask, okay?
Okay. Why?
Well, I'm going to ask you no, not your question. I'm going to ask you a terrible question, Dina.
Okay.
I'm very serious now. You're driving down the street, you and the old man, tomorrow night.
Right.
We got a baby squatter. You're going to go out and catch a flick or whatever, okay?
Mhm.
You're both killed. Who gets the kid?
Well, I would assume that.
No, you can't assume anything.
Okay.
Who gets the kid?
Doesn't the state give it to the relative?
Yeah, some relative, but maybe not the one you choose.
It wouldn't be like immediate relatives, like my parents.
It might be. How old are your parents?
In their 50s. My husband's are in their 60s.
Well, your husband's parents are probably out,
Mhm.
and your parents may be out.
Mhm.
In the eyes of the court, not in your eyes.
Right. Mhm.
Now, if you named your husband's parents or your parents, the likelihood is the court would adhere to your wishes.
Right.
But in the absence of that, if one of, let's say your husband's brother might want the kids, he may get them. For the kid, he may get them.
Mhm.
Well, yes, you need a will. You need a will yesterday. A will is an act of love. And if you love your child, and I'm sure you do, then you want to pick the person who is best suited in your collective opinion, you and the old man, as to who could raise that youngster the best, right? Well, that's done through a will. Then we have another problem here. If you die tomorrow,
right,
who's going to handle the money? Well, again, the court's got to decide, don't they?
Right.
And then every time a person wants to spend some money on your daughter, let's assume you go out in a big way in that same accident and there's a drunk to hit you and we're going to make it really nasty. You're going to burn to death and it takes 4 or 5 minutes for you to die.
Yeah.
You may be worth a lot of money dead. Now, who's going to handle that money for your daughter under today's circumstances? And every time they want to spend some money, they have to petition the court. Do you want that? I wouldn't think so. I would think that if you wanted, let's say, your parents to raise your child, you'd give them carte blanche as far as the money would, or maybe you wouldn't, would you, or would you not?
No, I would want, to...
Let them use their own judgment.
Right.
Well, you see, you can spell that out in your will as well. Yes, you need a will.
Designate, let's say, which side, my husband's side or my side, or...
Not a question, no. It's not your side or his side. You have to name specific individuals. You don't just say somebody on my side.
Right. No, right.
You got to name specific individuals. By name, rank, serial number.
Right.
My sister-in-law, Mary Jane Smith of 122 Main Street. Name them.
Right. Now, what about our assets? That would automatically go to my daughter?
No, ma'am. Not necessarily automatically, no. No. I don't know what the laws of intestacy are in New York. So, for example, suppose your husband died right now.
Right.
Right now. Who would get all the stuff that you guys have?
I would assume me.
No. Wrong. Your daughter would get, I think, either a third or 2/3.
Really?
Yeah. You, as a wife, I believe in New York, and I could be wrong, it doesn't matter. You won't get it all, I'll guarantee you that. Not the way it's set up now. But under your will, yes, everything would go to you.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
So, what's the answer to the question?
Yesterday.
Yesterday. And what's the but who's going to make this will?
I assume a lawyer.
Yeah, no, don't assume. You bet your life.
A lawyer.
You get a lawyer. Don't do it in the back of an envelope.
Right, no.
And the last thing, honey, seriously, discuss it with the person that you're thinking about having raised the kid. Don't surprise them. They're entitled to a discussion.
Right. Okay. Thanks.
I do wish you well, dear. No, you got to have it's something hell of a note when a 21-year-old is to say I'm going to die, but you are. The day you're born, you start dying. But it's just so foolish not to have a will, particularly if you have young children. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. Dallas, Texas. Hello there. Welcome to Talknet.
Hello, Bruce. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
What I was calling about, with a friend of mine as a partner, I've never owned a business. We started a newspaper, a community newspaper in Dallas about last January of this year.
Yeah.
It was kind of a two-person thing for about the first 6 months. Now we started taking on employees.
How you doing?
Oh, we're doing pretty good. We're starting to make a little bit of money. We paid our expenses. Now, one of the problems is neither one of us know anything about accounting.
What's your circulation? I'm curious.
It's right about 35,000.
No kidding.
Weekly.
Pardon me?
Bi-weekly, every week.
Yeah.
So So we're doing pretty good. But neither one of us are experienced about accounting, and we didn't really get too concerned because we really weren't pulling anything but expenses out before. Now we've got 2 salespeople working with us.
Hire an accountant.
Okay, but
nothing. You just keep on doing what you're doing. Do what you do well. If you don't know anything about accounting, that's not a curse. Matter of fact, more people than not could make that statement. But that's no big deal. Hire a good accountant and let him or her do their job well, and you keep expanding your business.
Yeah.
The mistake a lot of people make, not just so young people, is they're going to do it themselves. And that takes away from doing what you do well. That's apparently selling a newspaper.
Yeah. Yeah, I was kind of worried about some of the risks, liabilities, any problems like that, anything we should look out in that area.
What do you mean? What risks? What liabilities?
You got a salesperson on the street, anything you should look for?
Well, this is a regular employee, right?
Yeah, we've been kind of paying them basically on a cash basis.
On what basis?
On a cash basis.
Basically, you're breaking the law. Basically.
Okay.
How can you do that? How do you account for that cash? Where does it come from?
Cash meaning a check, and we keep records of everything we.
No, you can't do that. They're employees.
Okay.
Put them on a pad. You got to carry workers' compensation. You got to pay unemployment. You got to pay Social Security. And all the good things that the rest of us as employers have to pay. I mean, stop trying to finesse it.
Okay.
Hire yourself an accountant. Let the accountant set the books up. I don't see how you got along this far without one, to tell you the truth, but that's another program. But to get that done, and don't try to finesse the world. I mean, the rest of us are paying these taxes, and you're going to pay them too.
Okay.
Good luck, you.
All right, thank you.
Make a lot of money.
Bye.
All righty, from Dallas, we go to Syracuse. Hello.
Hello, Bruce.
Hey, SYR country.
How you doing?
I'm doing real well.
Good. Bruce, I want to get away from work a little bit here, hopefully August or so. I want to take some time off and don't have a fortune to spend. I'm going away with a friend, soon to be maybe fiance, we don't know. But
all right, I can take it along with that. Go ahead.
So anyway, I just want to get away. I don't have a lot of money. And I'm not really sure if I should start with a travel agent or...
Well, let's back up a little bit.
Okay.
Forgetting the fact you don't have a whole lot of money. What do you want to do? Forget the money for the moment. What do you want to do?
I do want to get to some warm weather.
Well, you're going to have warm weather in August in Syracuse. I mean, you don't have to go very far for that.
Yeah. I guess we like to get near the ocean. At least spend some of the time at the ocean. I guess so.
Well, when you say ocean, you got to be a little more specific. Okay. What ocean? The Atlantic Ocean?
Yeah, the Atlantic.
On the New Jersey coast, along the Maryland coast, Virginia coast, what?
Yeah, I guess Maryland would be the best choice.
Why? Now, why is Maryland the best choice?
Well, I've been down there before. We liked it down there. I guess my question was, should I get... If I'm not spending that much money, can a travel agent really do?
We're back to square one. You got to tell me what you want to do. There are some things that a travel agent can be most helpful. In other areas, you really don't need one, and there's not a whole lot they can do for you. But you keep avoiding my probing question here.
Okay, say we want to. Let's go to the shore in Maryland.
All right. Now, again, you see, how are you going to get there? You going to drive? You going to fly?
We can drive from here.
All right. If you're going to drive, the chances are you could probably cut a much better deal on site than you can at a long distance. And the amount of money involved is not going to beat a travel agent out of enough of a commission to get excited about.
Right.
And it should be. You shouldn't have to. I mean, on a weekend you might have a little trouble, but I don't think so. You may have to stay a little inland. If you decided to stop at Atlantic City, you might have a difficult time getting one of the big hotels. But I don't think you'd have any problem at all in finding a motel a little bit inland, you see. That's what I'm trying to get to. What do you want? You're giving me these general answers, and you got to be a lot more specific. If you said to me that you wanted to stay at a certain hotel on a certain weekend, then the travel agent might be helpful getting you in. Maybe yes, maybe no.
Okay.
But I think on a limited budget, what you ought to be doing is staying in the Motel 6s of the world. And you're not going to find them on the beach for the most part. But so what? But so what?
Okay.
And you're going to find, in my opinion, the best beaches along the Atlantic coast are in New Jersey, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
There's 26 miles of private beach. The rest is public. And they are certainly as good as you'll find anywhere in Hawaii.
Any particular spots or cities that...
Well, again, you're on a budget. We're back on the budget routine, you see.
What's the best way to get, like, some ideas and numbers and things? Is there, like, a travel...
Nah. You have to go down and take a look around.
Uh-huh.
You really are.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only way that I know. But you can take a look at a map. There are a lot of communities in all of these states, in Virginia, in Maryland, in New Jersey, along the Cape, that are strictly residential. There's no place for outsiders.
Mm-hmm.
And there are others that have plenty of hotels and motels. And you can write to the State Department of Tourism of Maryland, New Jersey, and whatever, and you'll find that that's no big deal. I do wish you well. Have a good trip. You can do it really on a budget if you work at it. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. Well, there's another hour in the history books, and I do hope it's been helpful. I know that having Cincinnati here with me every night makes it easy for me, and thanks again, Queen City. This is Bruce Williams for Talknet on 550 WLW.
Turn to someone to share with, because that's what friends do. Someone to listen, Talknet, someone who cares.
Well, hello there, Cincinnati. I'm Bruce Williams. Welcome, my friends. Welcome to my world. Welcome to Talknet. I'm delighted you stopped by, because here at Talknet, you make it happen. It's what's most important to you, the things we talk about. And I'm glad you're one of those great Hoosiers next door, or maybe right here in the Queen City. Either way, welcome to Talknet. Before I give you that telephone number, I know a significant number of you guys and gals are driving at this moment. And the weather is a bit severe here and there around the country. Hopefully not where you are, but in any event, severe or not, seatbelt could save your life. You say, I'm only going to the grocery store. It's 2 miles away. A lot of accidents happen within 2 miles of your house. Number's 800-743-8000, 800-743-8000. Let's begin in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Hello there.
How you doing?
I'm doing real well. Coming your way.
Hopefully you'll be able to get in Monday.
What?
Expecting lots of snow.
No, hold it. Say that very slowly.
We're expecting a snowstorm Sunday night.
You're kidding me.
No, right now it's so foggy you can't see 50 feet.
Well, the planes can't land, but I can't. But you're really getting a big storm. I'll have to watch the Weather Channel on Monday morning, huh?
I hope we get a lot of snow, but
why?
We get you in. Well, I'm a snowmobiler. We can't play when it's mushy like this.
Oh boy! Anybody who hopes for snow, I mean.
Oh, we need lots of it.
Boy. Well, I'll do my best.
Okay, that brings me to my question.
Mm-hmm.
We are producing a brand new television show. It deals with the sporting of snowmobiling.
All right.
It's going to be on a cable channel.
You're kidding me. A whole TV show just about snowmobiling?
Exactly.
What can be said about snowmobiling except you go for a ride?
Well, where to go, what to do. Snowmobiling is not cheap. You're dealing with upper end class.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on a second.
Yeah.
You're Bruce Williams.
And
what was that all about?
Somebody's listening to the radio in another room.
Oh my goodness gracious.
And what we'd like to know is, how do you get some of the fishing shows that are on cable from time to time have like football players, guest people like you, and stuff like that?
Well, depending upon who you're talking to, some people will do guest shots without compensation. The kind of thing you're talking about, you may or may not be able to get people to do it, just because they are interested in what you're doing, or for some reason they think there's some value for them.
Okay.
In getting involved.
We're dealing with.
Pardon me?
It's a very large market we're dealing with.
Yeah, well, but the point is, let's say you, for whatever reason, I know you wouldn't, but you invite me for, what's in it for me?
Possibly a paid spot. Get to see the great state of Michigan from.
You have to do better than that, I'll tell you. I'm serious. You have to do better than that. Either I'm going to get paid if that's what I'm looking for, or I have an interest, or there's a lot of things can be done.
Okay, give you an example. I won't name the gentleman. There's an IndyCar racer.
Yeah.
Who also races snowmobiles in the winter.
Oh, now see, he has an interest. That's a different matter.
Okay, the question is, how do you approach and even find these people? Because a lot of them have managers.
Well, you never get to me directly.
Correct.
You got to work through my office and it's not because I'm a big shot or anything. It's just there's so many demands on your time that you have to have somebody kind of run interference for you.
Okay.
And you got to it depends upon the individual. I like to be apprised of, but I want to get the Reader's Digest version of what anybody proposes. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
I want to know about it, but I don't want to spend 2 hours listening to it. You can talk. Kathy will talk for 2 hours to you. Give me the 15-second version, Kathy, and then I'll decide whether I'm interested or not. You see?
What's the average fee for something?
Oh, it depends. You can go anywhere from almost nothing to many thousands of dollars.
Okay.
Depending on what you want from the person and so forth. Again, you see, it depends upon how much exposure they're getting. If somebody asks you to go on with Jay Leno, the chances are you're going to say, yeah, it's great exposure. But if somebody asks you on one of the minor talk shows, then you got to think, do I need this?
Okay.
Well, it depends upon where you are in your career and how far you got to go out of your way. And what are they going to talk about? Is it something that you're really interested in? That if it's just, for example, for the sake of discussion, let's say it's a charity that you really have some interest in, or a cause. Well, then you might very well go way out of your way. But if they're just going to do something pedestrian that you've done 1,000 times, I mean, you maybe wouldn't go 2 blocks out of your way.
Okay. And also a little final comment. As a Lions Club member, it's great what you're doing for the Lions Club here in Grand Rapids. It's a great program.
Well, I'm delighted. I hope it works out well. And as you know, all of the expenses are being picked up by sponsors, so that I think it's $11 a ticket. But
I dragged my feet. I hope I can still get a ticket.
I'm sure you can. But all of the ticket proceeds go to charity.
Correct.
I do wish you well. I hope we'll see you Monday night. And listen, I used to ride, not regularly, I used to ride on a snowmobile on occasion.
Oh, that's good. Maybe I get a chance to pull you off to the side.
Oh, that's awful cold on the face. I just got some pictures today. We're taking in Alaska in September of last year of me driving a dog sled. That was really fun.
Okay, but with snowmobiling nowadays, if you dress, my handlebars get warm. I flip a switch, my hands ain't cold.
Is that right? Heated handlebars?
You can get heated boot warmers, heated face masks.
Whatever happened to the rough, tough, macho?
It ain't there.
I hear you. Hope we'll see you Monday, my friend.
Thank you much.
I'm Bruce Williams. Hang in. This is Talknet. Well, they brought the shock troops in. Walt Hassett is now running the board, so this will be a letter-perfect presentation from this point on. Omaha, no, Belmont, Ohio. I'm jumping the gun here. Hello, Belmont.
Hi.
Hello, sweetheart. How are you?
I'm real good. I'm a little nervous.
Not to be nervous, just you and me, but a couple of eavesdroppers. What's on your mind?
Well, I was wondering, I am, getting ready for my taxes and things.
That makes me nervous, too. Go ahead.
Makes me nervous, too.
Did you get that little love letter from the IRS here a week or two ago, that big, thick 1040?
Yeah, I did get that one.
Yeah, isn't that nice to see that in the mailbox? That and the water bill. Go ahead.
Well, what I was wondering about is that in 1992, I was married. Just hold on just a second.
No, I can't. You just let the call waiting go away. Go.
Okay.
Just talk to me.
I was married in 1992, but I also divorced in 1992.
You married and divorced in the same year?
No, I married.
You entered the year married and you left the year divorced. Is that what you're saying?
Well, no, I was married for 4 years, but in...
Oh, that's why I said you entered the year married.
Right, okay.
And you finished the year divorced.
Right, but I was only separated from my husband about 3 or 4 months of that time. The rest of the time, we were living together as common law, man and wife.
Now, wait a while. Were you legally married at all to this guy?
Yes, for almost 5 years.
Well, where did the common law get into the act?
Well, because after our divorce was final, we moved back in together. We have been living together, but we never remarried.
Well, then you just were living with a guy. Is your state a common law state?
Well, I'm not sure about that.
Well, that's pretty much a thing of the past most places.
Okay. Well, I taught. See, so what my question is about filing my.
You're not married. You're single.
Well, I talked to a tax person, and they said that if you file married, if you live with somebody and you file married, then in the eyes of the IRS, you are married. Because federally, they do recognize common law.
I'd want to have some. Well, let's see if we can find somebody who is really knowledgeable about taxes, okay? And if we cannot, what we're going to do is take your telephone number, because I will have the best people from the IRS in the country with me on the 6th of March, and then 14 days later, I guess 21st, something like that, on our annual IRS programs, and I'll put you together with them on the air. Now, you can hold off till March, can't you?
I can't. I was wondering about my estimated tax, but I've already taken care of that.
Well, I'm going to try to find somebody now, but what I'm trying to get to is if I cannot, what we're going to do is take your telephone number, and we'll put you in touch with these folks when we're doing our IRS shows a month or so from now. But in any case, if you're an accountant or otherwise expert, 703-413-8381, 713-413-8381. Lady was married to this guy. You were married to him this year. Is that you were legally married in 1992? Is that correct?
Right. And then our divorce was final.
But you were then, but put another way, did a different spin. You were legally married to this guy during 1992.
I was.
For a portion of the year.
Right.
You then lived with him
for the other
without benefit of clergy. Let's put it that way. Okay. Are you living with him now?
Yes.
But while we're waiting for somebody to call, would you explain what the motivation with this was?
Well, I don't know. I guess I had a bad PMS day or something. I don't know. And we just kind of got off track, and then we got back on track again, but we never did remarry in 1992.
Did you marry in 1993?
Well, we haven't yet.
Oh, then you're still unmarried. Okay, we have somebody from Bethesda, Maryland. Hello there. Hello.
Bruce.
Yeah.
I can't believe I'm talking to you.
Well, I'm very glad you are. Are you an accountant?
Yes, sir.
Tell me, what's this lady's situation?
If she lives in a state that recognizes common law marriages, then as far as her federal income tax goes, she will be considered married.
Well, I asked if it was a common law state. There's not that many of those left, are there?
Well, let's see, Wisconsin, Texas, Idaho.
Well, relatively few.
The acronym is Wilm C. Want.
That's a mnemonic, not an acronym.
That's a mnemonic, right.
Right. Wilm C. Mott. Okay. Is there any O's in there?
Mexico.
Well, she's in Ohio.
Ohio, no. Ohio's not in there.
Okay. So you're saying the IRS follows the state laws?
If the state recognizes common law marriages,
right,
the IRS will recognize.
Now, in the event that it does not, then they're single.
Yes.
But how about this? They were legally married for a portion of 1992.
If you were married as of the last day of 1992.
Oh, it's the last, not the first.
Yeah.
They had to be married on up through the last day, in other words. As contrasted with being, well, when was your divorce final, dear?
Well, let me check on that. I have a book right here.
All right. When was your divorce final, hon?
It was final the 6th of January.
You just snuck in, huh?
We just snuck in.
So they were married legally for 6 days in January of 1992. The rest of the time they were single, but living together. Been a whole lot easier. I'm married again, wouldn't it, if you were going to do all this sort of stuff? Pardon?
I guess it would have, but...
Well, maybe you're happier this way, huh?
Well, we are going to get remarried again.
Uh-huh.
I'm sure.
You're sure, but is he?
I don't know. We just didn't, and I made quite a bit more money than he did, and I pay estimated tax, and he doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
So the tax break would be really to the advantage for me.
Hello, Bruce.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, if she's married on the last day of 1992, she's considered married.
Well, she was not. Only married for 6 days in 92.
Okay.
So she's single.
Bruce.
Yeah.
One question for you.
Yes, sure.
Okay. I have a relative of mine that's interested in buying a liquor store.
All right, let me hold up. I think I have. Do I have a break left? I think I better take a little time out, and then we'll talk about the liquor store. Okay?
Great.
I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around. All this confusion on Talknet. Great to be here in Cincinnati. Thanks for joining me on Talknet. I'm chatting with a gentleman in Bethesda, Maryland. He called as an expert, but he got something on his mind. Well, he's helped me out. I got to do my best to help him. What's on your mind?
Okay, Bruce, my name is Scott.
Yes, Scott.
And I have a relative that's asked me to appraise the value of a liquor store that they're interested in buying.
Retail store?
Yes, okay. Retail liquor store, liquor lottery, and check cashing.
It's quite a combination.
Yeah, it's a good combination. The way that CPAs appraise a business like this is by taking the true net income of the business before taxes, then dividing it by a factor that's usually called the cap rate, which is we're using about 12%. And that came out with a figure that was...
Don't tell me the number.
Okay. But anyhow, I have a friend that's a real estate broker, a commercial real estate broker. He said that it's much easier than that. The best way to appraise it is just do 2 times the true net income of the store.
Well, I'm not so sure either one of those is accurate.
How would you do it?
Well, you see, here's the thing. I've only got a few seconds. The problem is that a business that nets $300,000 a year, dollar for dollar, is worth a whole lot more than a business that nets $30,000. In other words, if a business nets 30 and a business nets 300, the guy making 300 is worth more than 10 times the 30.
Right.
Because you're putting the formula then just went away that he's talking about.
Yeah.
Now, you have to sit down and you got to determine, A, in a liquor business, what's the license worth, if anything?
It's worth about $10,000.
All right, well, I'm just ticking things off. I've only got about 30 seconds. The license has a value. If there is real estate of value, the inventory has a value. The fixtures have a depreciated value.
Right.
All those things come into play. Now, also, you have to consider, is this place maxed out? Are they only open a limited number of hours? Could you increase it, and so on and so forth? All that jazz. Then you got to figure out how much effort the owner puts into this enterprise. If it's run completely absentee, you got one set of conditions. If the guy is there 200 hours a week, that's another set of conditions. And all of these variables, and the last and not most important, but clearly important, is the present owner willing to carry a substantial amount of paper. The more paper they carry, the greater the value. I do wish you well. I'm Bruce Williams for Talknet. Hey, if you're going to be driving through the Queen City tonight, make sure you take a look at the gorgeous skyline. It looks great, as usual. We're going now to Omaha, Nebraska. Hello there.
Hi, Bruce. I enjoy your show immensely.
Well, thank you very much. What's on your mind, guy?
A company contacted me tonight. I put my car in a paper, tried to sell it, and a company contacted me tonight to want to know if I wanted to sublease it to them. And
sublease it to them?
That's what the term they threw at me. I think they're using a wrong term.
I think they probably are, too.
Yeah, they say they'll set me up with a buyer.
No, that's not subleasing at all. It's a lousy idea, and don't even consider what they're talking about is having somebody take over your payments.
Right.
Yeah, right. Problem is twofold. One, the only person, and the chances are you're pretty much upside down on this deal.
Pretty close, right?
Yeah, because that's the kind of thing that would be attractive. It would never be attractive to see. If you had a car that was worth $10,000 and you only owed $5,000, you certainly wouldn't give it to me and let me take the payments over.
Right.
But if you had a car that's worth $12,000, you owed $12,000 and it was only worth $10,000, and I would take the payments over, you might be interested. Right?
Right.
But wrong, because the only kind of person that's going to go for a deal like that is, give me a profile on them.
They didn't tell me anything about the profile.
No, you give me the profile. Look, I'm setting the conditions. I have a car that's worth $10,000, but we owe $12,000 or $13,000 on it, and yet a customer is willing to take over the payments. Describe that person to me, knowing what I've just told you.
Right. I mean, I'm sure it'd be a person who doesn't have the greatest credit.
What could do it again?
The person would not have the greatest credit.
No, the person would have lousy credit, not the greatest, not just not the greatest, lousy credit.
Yeah, but
desperate, couldn't get it from anybody else.
Yeah, but see, this company said they guarantee it. If the guy doesn't make the payments or he steals the car, I mean, I asked these questions.
Yeah, okay.
And they said they'd make the payments until the end of the term or until they found the car.
All right, fine. Now let me ask you this.
Okay.
How do you know they're going to be in business tomorrow, never mind a year or 2 years from now?
Right. They say they've been in town for 3 years. I don't know.
Well, I bet they've been in town.
Right.
No, it's a very bad deal.
I thought it was.
The only kind of person that would be interested is that last person this is like the guy that wants to rent your apartment, you know?
Right.
Well, I don't have a month's security. In fact, I don't have this month's rent, but I'll see you in 2 weeks and I'll take good care of you. Are you going to rent the apartment to him?
No.
You'd be out of your mind. Well, it's the same thing. It's exactly the same thing.
Okay, even though they said they guaranteed it.
Well, that's terrific.
Unless the business goes bankrupt.
Well, what do you mean? Suppose they skip town.
Right.
Suppose all of a sudden a whole bunch of deals go. Let's assume that they are doing their best to meet their commitments, and all of a sudden a bunch of deals go bad. They'll be eating Brazil nuts on location.
Right.
Forget it.
Okay, well, thank you.
I wish you well, my friend. It's been around for years. It was not a good idea then. It is still not a good idea. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. Orlando, Florida. Hello there. Welcome to my world.
How you doing?
Okay. How are you?
Pretty good. I'm a first-time caller there.
Oh, I'm delighted. What's on your mind?
Well, Bruce, I have a brother who has student loans totaling about $17,000.
All right. Well, what did he study?
He started engineering.
Started, didn't finish?
I mean, he studied engineering. I guess I'm a little nervous.
That's okay. Did he finish school?
Yeah.
All right.
He finished school and all this, but he had guaranteed student loans with my dad, who passed away.
What do you mean with your dad? He borrowed the money from your father?
No. He, as a guarantee, with student loans, you generally have to have a co-borrower.
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay.
Okay.
That's not always true, but go ahead.
Okay. And it basically, with going to school and all this, and he totaled up to about $17,000 worth.
And your father was on the note?
Correct.
And your father is now a decedent?
Correct.
All right.
And basically, my mom's still alive, and she lives down in Miami.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, my brother got out in 1990, out of school.
All right.
And he finally got a good job.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, he had to go, overseas to get one of these jobs.
Is that right?
Yeah, he's working in Hong Kong.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's worse places to be, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, he said he loves it. He said it's really an interesting city.
Mm-hmm.
But in any case, in these last 2 years, he's been basically not been able to pay, his student loans.
Why?
Number one, trying to find a job. Okay,
yeah.
And
well, you get 9 months before you have to start to pay.
On some of them, they were on some of them, and he had 3 of them that were not, you can say, guaranteed or student loans per se. They were like going through the.
In other words, they were due immediately. You're talking about
immediately. Correct.
All right, fine. So where are we going with all this?
Well, number one, I've been getting all these. Since he's overseas, he asked me to to go ahead and start paying some of these bills for him. Okay.
With whose money?
His money.
Oh, okay.
His checking account, his dollars.
Mm-hmm.
And but at the same time, these other loan companies have gone to collection agencies and started asking for the money like right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I got 2 questions. One, they've already ruined my brother's credit.
All right.
Okay, he can't get a credit card. He can't do anything.
Well, he's ruined his credit. They didn't ruin his credit.
Correct. He
being fair.
Yeah, it's all being fair. I want to go ahead and pay these bills off, but they're asking for the full total amount.
Well, that's what they're going to ask, of course.
Of course. And
you don't get unless you ask.
Okay. Well, can I go ahead and just say, hey, pay you $100 a month, on this, this particular bill, and we just go from that point?
Well, you can offer to do what you wish, and they can reject your offer. Now, they can't collect. In other words, they can't attach, garnish, or otherwise take an action without going to court.
Okay.
And most lenders really don't want to do that if they can avoid it. Now, some are a little more hard-nosed than others, and on some occasions, loans are sold to second parties at a discount, and they'll negotiate and so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I would be upfront with these people and say, this is the situation. My brother's out of the country, but I am going to do my best. You don't have to tell him you're getting money from him.
Right.
That I'm going to do my best to try to reduce these loans. This is what I'm proposing.
Okay.
And see what they have to say.
All right, fine. The other question is, do they, since he lives with my mom, or used to live with my mom, use my mom's address and all this down in Miami, does she have any exposure to...
Well, your father did, and your father still is on the notes.
Yeah, my father's still on the note.
And his estate is still... I don't believe you can close out his estate legitimately.
Okay.
Because he still leaves behind these obligations. And since they're in default, I don't believe you can close out his estate. Now, that's a legal matter for your attorney, but I don't think you can. Now, you may have already done so.
Yeah, I thought we did a pretty good job, but I guess
I don't know. I'm speculating, but if the estate, if the deceased has obligations, it is the responsibility of the executor, or if he dies without a will, the administrator of the estate, to satisfy those obligations.
Okay.
Now, if they weren't satisfied, I don't believe the estate can be closed out. Maybe so. You have an attorney. He's the guy there. Have you closed out the estate and distributed the assets?
Well, really, in the state of Florida, they just automatically went to my mom's, let's say the house and all the other debts that, let's say, for example, the credit card debts.
Yeah.
I just wrote a letter, to the credit cards company and says, hey, my dad ceased, and they went ahead and closed off the account. And
they didn't have to be paid?
Some of them, well, there weren't that big of an amounts. Okay, we're only looking at a couple $100s. And I guess they were in a Christmas mood at that time, since he died during the Christmas holidays.
I'm surprised.
But in all seriousness, that's I was just looking at alternatives, or if my mom has any exposure.
Well, I think I've said I think your dad's estate has the exposure, and the things that he owned were encumbered. But let's see if we can find an attorney who'd like to comment, because it's an interesting point. But it's my understanding that the just because he passed away, it doesn't wipe out his debts or his obligations if he had assets. On the telephone, give me a call, 703-413-8381, 703-413-8381. Real simple situation. Father signed for his son and then passed away. Can his assets be liquidated, distributed to his heirs or whatever, or is there responsibility on the part of the estate to continue the guarantee that he gave when he was alive? 703-413-8381. Maybe we can find out. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. Indianapolis, Indiana, we have an attorney. Thank you so much for calling. Counselor, what's up?
You're welcome, Bruce. Well, I'm a Hoosier lawyer, so I'm not exactly sure what the answer would be for your guy in Florida, because it'll depend upon state law. But there was a Supreme Court case a couple of years ago that dealt with the general due process issue of giving notice to creditors upon a death. So if these people actually did give some sort of notice to these people, then by application of state law, within a designated period of time, in Indiana it's 5 months, I have no idea what it would be in Florida, then if the creditor doesn't come forward and bring a claim, then they're wiped out.
The creditor, how does one bring a claim? Is sending a bill considered bringing a claim?
No, they would have to file a claim with the probate court or the surrogate court.
Okay.
Called in that state.
But it's necessary to notify the creditor, put them on notice. If you suppose you don't notify them.
Well, in Indiana, the law says that if it goes a year after the date of death, then even if you didn't notify them, it's wiped out. Unless, again, I didn't hear the beginning of this conversation, unless it's to the government. Claims to the United States are never wiped.
Well, that would be, well, then on the student loans, let me would you put Orlando back on for me, please?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, well, the student loans were GSLs, were they not?
Yes.
Then that's a government loan.
Well, if it's an obligation to the United States of America, and again, I don't know what the intricate relationship would be between the actual lender here and the government, but if it is a debt to the United States, which generally speaking is a tax obligation, those are never wiped out by failure to give notice.
Well, also the Congress just passed a law that took away any statute of limitations with regard to GSLs.
That's correct.
So that then what would the estate have to do? Keep the estate open?
Well,
the notes are in default.
Yeah.
But the father is a guarantor. The deceased father was a guarantor.
Right. Then, yes, theoretically, those need to be dealt with in the administration of the estate. If they went ahead and closed the estate, then, frankly, it then is up to somebody else to bring, to affirmatively come forth and challenge that. And they could, the government, for example, in this case, could reopen the estate.
Well, suppose the proceeds have been distributed.
I'm sorry?
Suppose the proceeds in the estate have been distributed.
Well, then they can go after the individual or the personal representative or the legatees and attach their assets.
They could go after the executor or a personal representative.
They have done it, and they do it.
Is that right?
Yeah. Which is why, if they've discharged their bond, they better run back and get it.
Well, frequently the will will say to serve without bond.
Well, if they don't have a bond, then they may well be personally liable.
I never realized that.
Obviously, this is a case in which, using Bruce Williams' best advice, Florida counsel should be. Let me clarify that. Competent Florida State Council should be contacted.
Uh-huh.
All right?
Yeah, thank you very much, Counselor.
My pleasure.
Orlando, I'm afraid we muddied the water for you a little bit.
It definitely did muddy the water.
But unhappily, I think, being uninformed about your situation doesn't help you any.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. It's just, my brother is, he's going to go in and start willing to go in and start painting.
Yeah, well, no, but we're back. You see, but that's a separate issue.
Right.
The other part of the issue is, should your father's estate be closed?
Mm-hmm.
And I think you ought to get some advice on that.
All right. Well, you're always, welcome to come here in Orlando,
Well, I will be down one of these days. You can believe. I'm sure I'll be out at Mouse World again, and I'll be down at WDBO. So one of these days.
Okay, good.
I do wish you well, my friend. Now I'll be over to see my friend Tom Kennington. Where in California? Aptos. There is no such animal. Aptos, California. Hello there.
Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
I am well. What part of California?
Near Santa Cruz, about 40 miles north of Monterey, Carmela.
Okay, you're up by the kind of a wet area right now.
Yeah, I sure am.
Boy. What's on your mind, dear?
Well, I have worked for a high-tech company in the Silicon Valley for about 15 years.
In what capacity?
As marketing communications in a variety of different capacities.
All right.
Sort of advertising, sales, literature.
Well, you're a middle management type.
Yes.
All right.
And I'm just kind of looking to make a change, to find something closer to home, and also to go into an industry that has a little more appeal to me than computers.
Well, first, how old are you?
36.
Married, single, what?
Married, one child.
All right. Then is the income absolutely necessary to your existence?
Yes.
So you can't fiddle around. You got to go from one flower to the next right away.
Right.
What would you like to get into?
Well, there's an ad in my paper recently for an advertising and PR manager for a local company that develops photographic equipment, manufactures it, and distributes it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm interested in applying, and I just kind of wanted to get your ideas on, since it is a major switch in industry, although my discipline is the same, how to be creative about getting their attention.
Well, I don't know that you have to be super creative. Do you have a good track record?
Yes.
Well, I would talk to the major achievements of your current occupation as they would relate to the new guys. For example, if a big part of the thing, you mentioned public relations, and public relations is a fancy way of saying getting our name in a newspaper and that sort of thing, right?
Right.
Well, if you could point to the fact that you'd received this kind of recognition, that kind of recognition for your company, an article was written here and there, and the other place, and the clips and whatever, that would be right on point, would it not?
Yes, it would.
So you have to kind of take a look at what they are trying to accomplish in this body they're looking for.
Okay.
And then what have you done? Never mind what you can do. What have you done along those lines that you can empirically demonstrate that, by golly, I know how to get your name in a paper?
Uh-huh. Okay.
As far as changing jobs, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I think I'm ready to do that. I just want to make sure that I'm not, if I'm going to make that decision, that I do it with some education behind me.
Well, you're fortunate that you don't have to jump.
Right.
And you don't have to take the first thing that comes along.
Mm-hmm.
On the other side of that, you can be overly cautious and you'll die where you are.
Right.
But the telling thing here too is though that the income is a requisite as contrasted with, well, we got enough money stashed away I I can look for 6 months. But as a practical proposition, and I'm certain you know this, so forgive me, but it's much easier to find a job when you're working
Right.
than when you're not.
Yeah. I'm not doing anything until I have another job.
Very well.
So I just want to make sure that I understand how to make that segue into a new industry.
Well, I don't know that that there's so many skills. An accountant is an accountant is an accountant. Now, clearly there are certain things that are indigenous to any given industry, but 2 and 2 still is 4.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that true?
That's true.
So there's so many skills do translate from one to another.
Advertising is advertising is advertising.
Exactly so. And clearly, depending upon if you're going directly to the public or institutional or whatever, there are some nuances.
Right.
But you're still a flack.
Okay.
I do wish you well, dear.
Thanks very much.
I'm Bruce Williams. Good luck with it, hon. This is Talknet.
Someone to count on, a friend you can turn to, someone to share with, because that's what friends do. Someone to listen, Talknet, someone who cares.
Well, hello there. Hey, I am delighted you popped in. I'm Bruce Williams. Welcome, my friends. Welcome to my world. Welcome to Talknet. We talk to you within about you and your life, your hopes, your ambitions, your dreams, all of the things that make you so very special. Glad you're here. I'm Bruce. Welcome to Talknet. Our telephone number from anywhere on the continent, and I do hope one of these days you kind of make use of it, 800-743-8000. 800-743-8000. Take you from your house to my house, your car to my house. Let's do it. Crofton, Maryland, you are at the head of the line. Hello there.
Hello.
Hi.
The subject I want to talk about is a lease on a car, and it's kind of secondhand. I'll just tell you what happened. And then my boss came into work today, and he's a friend of mine too, and he signed a lease on a car. And after being there for several hours and explaining the options of leasing and buying, the pros and cons of both, and ended up signing a lease on a car for 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then decided afterwards, after talking with other people, that he would rather buy the car.
Did he take the car home?
Did he take the car?
Had he taken the possession of the leased car yet?
Yes, he had. Yes, he had.
Could be a done deal.
Yes, it is. And he called them back the next day and wanted to change to just buy the car.
Mm-hmm.
And they told him that he could buy out of the lease for $3,000. And I know he knows, and I know also that it was a dumb thing to do. And
not necessarily. I don't know if it was a good lease or a bad lease. I mean, I don't know that I want to go start saying it was a dumb thing to do at this point.
Okay. Well, he feels it was a dumb thing.
Well, all right. Perception is reality. We both know that.
And he did it. So
okay.
And my question is, and I called him because my wife told me about your show and whatnot. I called him to see if he could, but he's not home. So I was just calling to see information about what he can do in terms of he wants to somehow picket or let somebody know that this is what happened to him.
Well, wait a minute. Okay. What you said he's your boss. What business is he in?
We're in pension business.
Pension?
Uh-huh.
Meaning that you sell annuities and that sort of thing?
No. Actually work for the government.
In what capacity?
At the agency that takes care of pensions.
Oh, the Bureau, BERG or something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
What are the initials? I just did a thing on that.
GC.
Pardon?
TBGC.
TBGC, okay. I know, I just did a thing on you guys.
Oh, good.
We do a little thing called the Money Memo, and I just did a thing about pensions and what you guys protect private pension plans and so forth. Monitor them, right?
Yes, defined benefit pension plans. But
okay, well, point being, if you were in a profit-making sector, what I was about to point out is, or let's take a pension example. If there are 3 or 4 choices to be made at retirement, right?
Right.
If you make one, most times they're irrevocable, are they not? For example, you pick a certain period so that your spouse will get something. Mm-hmm. Then you decide that wasn't a good deal. It's usually too late. You made the option, the selection, it's over, right? Generally speaking, is that not the case?
What if...
No, I don't want to start
getting involved in or debating pensions.
Right.
But generally speaking, if you have an you have to make a choice when your pension comes due to either take
yes, you have to make a choice.
Exactly. And when you make it, it's irrevocable.
Right.
Well, the same thing. So would you go out and pick at the pension company because you made an irrevocable choice?
No.
Well, the same thing here. He signed a contract.
Right.
He's a grown up. He's over 18 considerably.
Okay.
Nobody came in with a Uzi and started making him do some kind of a dance. He signed it.
Mm-hmm.
And they're saying you signed it, live with it.
Okay.
Well, why would that call for picketing?
Well, okay, how about handing out information saying the facts of exactly what happened? I just think if...
What's to be gained by that?
I don't know.
You may be gaining a lawsuit.
Okay.
Unless he's very, very accurate.
Making the call to find out the information.
I just think he'd be far better off if he wants to buy his way out, buy his way out.
Right.
Otherwise, live with it. Is it an open or a closed-end lease? Do you know that?
I don't know. Like I said, this is...
I understand you're in a bad position, but the best thing you can do for him, you said he's your friend, is to keep him from doing something stupid.
Okay.
And handing out leaflets and picketing and whatever can be industrial strength stupid.
Okay.
Because if he's not careful what he says, he can get himself into a lot more trouble than he's in right now.
That's the kind of information I was looking for. I called like the magistrates and the zoning to see what kind of things were necessary in order to do this and what kind of penalties or repercussions for doing it, and I couldn't get an answer. So I got an answer.
Okay, Guy.
Thank you.
I wish you well. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. The capital of the Commonwealth of PA, Harrisburg. Hello there.
Hi, how are you?
I am just fine, thank you.
Good. I have a question about a business venture I saw in USA Today.
A business venture, you mean advertised?
Right, yeah.
In the classified?
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Okay. Right now, my husband and I have an auditing firm where we audit companies' freight bills and look for overcharges and work on a commission basis.
How's that working out for you?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
How did you get into that?
That was our field, and actually I took a maternity leave and started with my old company to do it, and then we branched out from there.
You mean when you originally learned how to do it, you just did it for the in-house? Is that it?
I did it in-house, and then I took my maternity leave and didn't want to come back. So
So you went to other companies and said, I can do this?
Right, yeah. We're up to about 11 or so now.
So I got a feeling you saw an ad about auditing similar things like utility bills and whatever.
Exactly.
How did I know that?
I don't know. Is that pretty common?
Yeah, it's the ads are pretty common. I don't have much confidence in them delivering what they say they can deliver, but you're in a unique position.
Okay. Yeah.
In that you are in a much better position to analyze this than the average person who responds to one of those ads.
Yeah, it's working pretty good in freight, and then this company said they look at like 9 other areas. But and they'll teach you how to look in these 9 other areas. We thought once we're in the door, maybe we can audit other areas. But they want to charge $10,000 to learn how to analyze these other 9 areas, and we don't want to be taken, but we don't know how to find out if they're like on the level or.
Well, you see, you're putting. I'm not going to. I think I'd avoid the word on the level or the term on the level. Excuse me.
Okay.
Do I think they can deliver? Does what? Let me rephrase your question for you, which is a terrible thing to do.
That's all right.
But. Can they deliver what they say they can deliver, in my opinion and the opinion of many people who have called me?
Okay.
The answer is no.
Okay.
The answer is no. The one area of auditing I think has some merit, and that's auditing variable rate mortgages.
Okay.
Because, admittedly, by the finance houses and everybody else, there have been a ton of, and they are honest mistakes.
Yeah,
it's just a very complex thing, and you have people who are not exactly the highest paid employees in the world doing these computations.
Okay.
And they made mistakes in both directions, by the way.
I saw that just recently in our local paper.
Is that so?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
About the mortgages.
So that, I think, would have some merit. But the utility bill thing, particularly the electric bills and so forth, that's been around for an awful long time, and I really don't have a lot of confidence in that.
They say they save on like cleaning supplies and telephone and office supplies, telling people how they can buy better and less expensive.
Well, that's expanding a little bit, isn't it? Now we're almost into a consulting enterprise.
Right, yeah, they say they're consulting, but they work all on commission too.
Yeah, well, okay. Well, you asked my opinion.
Okay.
Do I think it's worth spending $10,000 on? No.
Okay.
If you want to if you were looking for another horizon to attack, and clearly you have the ability to do the auditing and you have a handle on numbers and I suspect at least elementary computer capability, I would look into the auditing of adjustable rate mortgages.
Okay.
Because I do think that there's been enough publicity, maybe isn't the best choice of terms, but attention brought to these things that there have been problems.
Okay.
That if you could do it at a reasonable enough price, a lot of people might be interested in trying.
Okay, yeah, my mother-in-law actually sent me an article on that.
Is that right? It wouldn't be. I don't think that would be a commission proposition either.
You don't?
No, I think it would just be for a fixed fee, $25, $30, $50, whatever.
Okay.
You would audit their account and to see if they've been treated fairly and correctly. If not, you would bring it to their attention, or if they have been, I'd feel a lot better knowing that it was for $50 it was corrected. I mean, when you're paying thousands of dollars a year in interest.
Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, especially with that article coming out. I'm sure a lot of people saw that.
Mm-hmm. That's been going on now for quite a while too. This is not new.
Okay.
I do wish you well, dear.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks for your call. I'm Bruce Williams. Agree or disagree? This is Talknet.
Talknet. 1-800-743-8000.
San Antonio, hello there. Welcome to my world.
Good evening, Bruce. How are you?
Oh, everything's cool. What's up?
My wife and I will be moving to Colorado Springs in April this year.
How come?
Sir?
Air Force?
That's correct.
Okay, that figures.
And we're possibly considering buying a home, and this would be the first time that we've considered buying a home. And my question stems from, once we've identified, say, 2 or 3 houses that we are interested in, what steps should we take to ensure that we're not buying a lemon, I guess, is for lack of better words?
Well, first of all, you ought to get a little bit acquainted with the marketplace in this case, Colorado Springs.
Okay.
That takes a little bit of bopping around and reading the papers and taking a look at what's available, so you get a feel about what a dollar will buy.
Okay.
All right. And the next step is, after you find a house that you like, and you've negotiated a price which you feel is to your advantage, or maybe a better term might be fair, before, or you can sign a contract, but the contract should be contingent upon satisfactory inspection by an inspector of your choice and at your expense.
Okay.
There's lots of people out there that will do that for you. And you want somebody who is, and if a license is required, they have some, in many jurisdictions, no license is required, but certainly insured. That means if they make a mistake, there's money there to correct that mistake. They say the roof is great, and 2 days later the roof falls in, they're liable. That's why you're hiring them.
Okay.
Fair enough?
Fair enough.
All righty. What do you do in the Air Force?
I work with the security police.
Is that used to be like the air police?
That's correct.
Yeah, I remember those guys. Where are you stationed?
Currently stationed here at Lackland Air Force Base.
Yeah, I went through Lackland as a basic airman. I think they called us private or buck privates at the time, but the same thing. I do wish you well, my friend. Boy, I took a tour of Lackland here about 3 or 4 years ago. What a lot of changes. But the only thing I think I could find that was the same was the B-17 parked out in the parade field. I assume that's still there.
Oh, yes, sir.
All righty. Good luck, my friend. Let's go now to Springfield, VA. Hello there. Springfield, are you there?
Oh, yes, I am.
Hey, sleep at the switch. Come on, baby. Let's get it on. We're going to boogie. It's Friday night. And what are you doing at home?
Oh, I have a baby and a husband.
Well, you can take the husband and leave the kid at home.
No, I adore her. I miss her all week, so I like to stay home with her.
Son of a gun. No more boogieing for you for a while, huh?
Well, those days are long gone.
No, they're just put aside for a time.
Well, my husband wants more children, so.
That's okay. They're still put aside for a time. Trust me, I'm boogieing now.
Yeah.
What's on your mind, baby?
Well, I have a slight problem. I just currently left an old job, and my previous employer refuses, he won't pay me for 2 weeks that I've worked, and plus commission. And
let's take a deep breath. Did you resign from this job?
Yes, I did.
All right. What were you selling?
Well...
Or what were you doing that generated a commission? Maybe it's not selling.
Well, it was selling. It was selling a courier service.
I'm sorry?
A courier service.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
And while I was there, I was only there for 2 months.
I did sign on 3 accounts, and when I was hired on the basis, we talked. I actually applied for a secretarial position, but when I got down there, he's like, I really think you'd be great at sales with your personality. And my husband and I discussed it, and I thought, well, okay, I'll give it a shot.
Was this a straight commission deal or a salary plus or what?
Salaried. I was salary plus commission.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did. I gave it a shot for 2 months, and it just ended up, it wasn't for me. And it was costing me more to work there than I was earning because I was paying my gas, and I didn't have any medical insurance.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went to him, and I told him how I felt and that I just didn't think it was for me. And I thought that it left on, really good terms. He told me, if I owe you money, I'll pay you. I need to check with the bookkeeper. Well, now every time I call, he won't return my phone calls. He won't speak to me, and I don't know what to do next.
How much does he owe you?
He owes me 2 weeks' pay plus the 5% commission, so probably about $700.
Well, I'd do 2 things. First thing Monday morning, I'd go down to his office.
Well, I have a job. I can't.
Well, you may have to take a little time off. Lunchtime, something. I'd go down there. You asked what I'd do. I'd go down in person. Is he in the office all day?
Yeah, but he's just he probably would hide. Honestly, that's the kind of person he is. He would probably hide.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'd still go down there. And if that didn't work, the next stop is the Wage and Hour Division of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. I think you'll find they'll help you collect. I'm Bruce for Talknet. Well, Dan Rudd swears there is such a place, and Dan is never wrong. 40 Fort, Pennsylvania?
Hi, Bruce. How are you?
Hi. What's a 40 Fort?
It's a small town in Pennsylvania. It was settled about 215 years ago by 40 settlers.
All right. I salute you, because most people would never be curious enough to ask, where'd they get this screwball name from?
Well, we just celebrated our bicentennial not too long ago, and that's how I happen to know.
Son of a gun.
Yes. Listen, I've been a long-time listener, and I never thought I'd have to call you, but today I had a problem, and you're the first person I thought of.
What's up?
I've got a lawyer. I retained a lawyer on December 16th regarding an automobile accident, and I had asked him to contact the other party and just do whatever needed to be done to make some sort of settlement.
Well, let's kind of spin this thing in reverse.
All right.
What type of, what was this? What's the severity? Was there bodily injury and all that kind of good stuff?
Well, the other party is saying that there was bodily injury. The main thing was that it involved my son, who did not have any insurance.
Okay. They say you are the defendant or potential defendant.
That's exactly right.
All right.
I did not want to go into any type of litigation without having some attorney.
Okay. How old is your son?
He's 17.
Ooh, so you're on the hook here too.
Sir. Yes. My problem is not so much that as it is the problem that I had with the attorney today that I've retained.
Okay.
I have tried, from December 16th, I gave it a couple of weeks waiting to hear from my attorney to see what's been done. Obviously, there were holidays, and immediately after the holidays were over, I hadn't heard anything, so I called the office and was not able to reach him. The secretary wasn't able to give me any information. I've called several times, and this week I finally got through to another secretary that said she would give him the message and tell him I would like to talk to him and get the information. In the meantime, this week also, I think on Wednesday, I got a letter in which he stated the $200 retainer I gave him has depleted, and he now wants another $500. I called the office yesterday, and I said, please, I would like to talk with him, find out what has been done.
Yeah, how was the $200 spent?
Yeah, how was the $200 spent? And also, what type of action has been done? How has the other party reacted to all of this? Today, I got a phone call, and he was in an absolute tirade, yelling and screaming at me. How dare I ask him for an explanation? It will cost me another $200 for him to give me a breakdown of how he spent that $200.
You got to be kidding me. The first thing I'd do is I'd find another attorney. That's for openers.
Now, that's what was my very first impression. However, Would another attorney be able to get any files or records? Or
Well, hold on. Let's back up.
All right.
First thing I'd do is hire another attorney, period.
Okay.
Period. Now, I don't know how much of a file there could be at this point. He apparently hasn't done anything.
That's my...
All right. Well, so I don't think there's... And for $200, you're not going to get much anyway.
That's right.
But the next thing I would be doing is writing a very, very strong letter to the local bar association, the county bar.
I tried to find them in the phone book.
Well, trust me on this one. If you can't find them, somebody can do it. They're easy to find.
Okay. Local bars.
Any attorney can tell you. When the guy that you hire, tell him you're going to make a complaint. You want the county bar associations. Okay. That's easy. And a professional owes you an explanation of services.
You know, I have had to deal with lawyers in my job and over the years in a number of occasions, and every single time I've always gotten a statement. It's usually taken on a monthly basis.
Absolutely.
It's just now been a month, but that's no reason, in my opinion, no reason to be calling and telling me it's going to cost me $200 more.
Look, that guy is clearly not professional.
Now, I know that he's undergoing some medical treatment right now, but like I said to his secretary, he shouldn't be taking it out on me.
Exactly. His problems are not and should not be your problem.
That's right.
Well, it's just clear that now he may be, not playing with a full deck right now.
Well,
but that's the way life is.
I'm sympathetic to that, and I even said I can sympathize with your situation, and he got very sarcastic. In fact, the note that his secretary gave him, he said to me that he thought it was very sarcastic, and I have been nothing but polite with these people.
Well, you asked me what to do.
Yep.
Get another attorney.
Okay.
Make a complaint to the Bar Association.
Okay.
I do wish you well, kid. I'm Bruce Williams. I wouldn't put up with that in a heartbeat. This is Talknet. Richmond, Virginia. Hello there.
Hello, Bruce. I'm wondering maybe if you could help me this evening.
Let's try.
Well, last year I turned in basically a fraudulent tax form for myself, and I'm just wondering what now to do about it.
Tell me a little bit about what you did.
Well, basically,
No, not basic. Tell me what you did. You filed a tax return and the information was not accurate. Is that correct?
That's correct.
How inaccurate?
Well, I had a business and I claimed $30,000 worth of business expenses when it really was used for personal.
Why this sudden change of heart?
Well, it hasn't been sudden. It's been something that I've constantly thought about, and I'm just wondering if...
What you want to do is get yourself an accountant, and he will file an amended return. You'll owe some tax and some interest, probably no penalties. Because you came forward and said, "Oops, I made a mistake." Pardon?
See, basically what I didn't actually do it. I turned everything over to my accountant at the time, but I gave him false information.
Well, he can only, garbage in, garbage out. You file the return. The accountant doesn't file a return as such. You do. You're responsible for it, and he is only responsible for using that data which you give him. So
it's something that... How can this be audited? Do you think something of that amount could be audited by the IRS?
Well, I think we're using the term incorrectly. Any return can be audited. The word audited means checked. I think you're asking, could that amount be picked up and found out? Is that what you're saying to me?
Yeah.
How much was the likelihood is no, being realistic. We have what is called in this country a voluntary system. Voluntary. Not very voluntary from where I'm sitting, but that's what it is. There's no way in the world that they could follow around and audit everybody. Now, if you happen to get the short straw and you get audited, or if there's something in there that looks suspicious, for example, how much money was involved in your entire return? I don't mean how much tax you paid. You had a business. Put it that way. How much money? How much did the business do that year?
About $300,000.
All right. Small business.
Correct.
Business still around?
No. But the year that we filed, it was still around.
I would suspect the likelihood of, frankly, you asked me a question, I'm not going to, that you're being caught is relatively modest. However, if you are caught, it's going to be a very costly experience. Are you going to go to jail? I doubt it. Are you going to pay some heavy-duty fines? Very possibly.
I'm wondering if, so your suggestion then would be to open this back up.
Well, no, you said to me, how do I do it? That's what you said.
Yeah.
And I said, the way you do that. That was your question, if you remember, originally. And my answer was, what you do is you have your accountant, not necessarily the guy who filed it last time, it could be, file what is called an amended return. Then the appropriate tax and interest is paid. And you can sleep at night.
Correct. But you don't think once I file an amended return, they're going to see that this was fraudulent and then attempt to...
I think if you file it and you come forward, I don't think they're going to be worried about fraud at that point, no.
Okay.
I don't think so. That's my opinion, not to be guided by your accountant's opinion, but that's my opinion.
Okay.
I wish you well, Guy. Dallas, hello there.
Hello?
Hi.
Yes, Bruce?
Yes, sir. Let me, a quick note to my friend in Richmond. I would suggest if you don't do something in the meantime, you listen to, we have 2 special tax shows. I don't know why one date sticks in my mind, the other doesn't. I think it's the 6th and the 21st of March. And I will have the top people in the IRS in the studio with me. And IRS, did I say iOS? IRS. And you can certainly ask the question of them.
Bruce? Yeah, I bought an automobile in April of 92. Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and the problem we are having right now, we bought a demo automobile, which, you know, it's like a...
No, wait a minute. No, a demo is not like anything.
Okay, it's like...
No, hold it. Stop, please. A lot of different cats are sold under the umbrella demo or demonstrator.
Okay, it was probably, they said that their associates used this car for 1 year or whatever.
Okay, how many miles on it?
Okay, when we bought it, it had like 20,000 miles on it.
That's some demonstrator, let me tell you. That's just a used car.
Okay.
Was the car titled?
No,
It had never been titled before.
It was titled, right. But we were like the first owner. It was titled under the dealership name.
Well, ordinarily, a dealer doesn't title a car.
Okay, well, I don't know that. But see, the question is, it had 20,000 miles on it, less than 20,000 miles, 19-something. And we bought the extended warranty on it also.
Mm-hmm.
Paid extra $500-600 and got the warranty for like 75,000 miles on it.
And was that warranty issued by the manufacturer of the car?
No, the manufacturer's warranty is up to 36,000 miles.
Well, what's this other warranty? A private warranty?
Yes, it's an additional extended warranty, they call it.
Yeah, I know what they call it.
Company, not by the manufacturer.
That's the point I was trying to get to. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, but this car has, right now, it has 32,000 miles on it.
All right.
Okay, what happened was 2-3 days ago, we were driving the car, and all of a sudden the smoke came out. So we pulled the car to the side road, and we checked, and there was oil all over the engine. And the oil cap was missing. So we towed it, pushed the car on the side, and we got the oil cap, put the oil in it and cap in it, and we took it to the car wash, washed it, and then it won't start. So we took it to the mechanic right next to it, and he checked it, charged us $46, and he said that the engine is gone. They need a new engine.
Well, why is the engine gone?
He didn't say. He said probably the manufacturer's fault or something like that.
That's pretty indefinite. Go ahead.
Okay, so
what failed in the engine? Let's start with that.
They said it's like a crankshaft or something like that in it.
Yeah, there is a crankshaft in there. That's true.
Yeah, but see, he didn't open the engine, so he didn't know what was wrong inside the engine.
Well, I mean, was it a question of oil failure, not enough oil or something, or what?
But that's what.
All right. Well, so continue on. Where are we going with this?
We called the dealer. They towed the car to their dealership. I went there today, and what he's saying that obviously the oil cap was missing because we got a new oil cap in it.
Mm-hmm.
There was oil on the hood and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems like the oil cap was missing, and that caused the failure to the engine.
You're telling me that on this particular engine, the oil blew out of the oil filter tube?
Well, he said that because the oil cap was not there.
Well, the oil cap being there didn't change. It isn't the cause. The cause might be that because there was no oil cap there,
he's saying
the oil was blown out of there, and then the car ran with no oil.
Right, that's what he's saying.
All right.
But what my question was, how could the oil cap come out?
I don't know.
Okay, see, we had the oil change about 2 months ago.
All right.
So, what he's saying that whether they didn't tight it enough, or...
That's a possibility. Did you ever stop at a gas station, have them check the oil?
Yeah, I check my oil normally.
Well, you might have left it off.
Every 2 weeks. But what my question was, don't I supposed to get an oil light in it when it's running low?
Yes, you should.
Okay, well, that's what I told him. I said I didn't get any oil light at all. And he said, well, you don't get oil light if it is running low. He said, you get only oil light when it's not enough pressure.
That's true.
So I told him
But as soon as if
there is no oil, then there shouldn't be any pressure in it.
That's also correct. So, I think without being trying to be cute, they're blowing smoke in your face.
Right. So they didn't give us any rental car at all, and they said that they talked to the Toyota manufacturer.
Yeah.
And they told them that they cannot replace the engine or fix it. And they called the warranty people, the extended warranty people, and they said since the Toyota is not doing that, we won't do anything.
Well, I'd rather you didn't keep mentioning the name of the car, but you're going to have to sue the dealer and the manufacturer.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's what it comes down to.
Okay, what do I do now?
You're going to have to sue both the dealer and the manufacturer.
Both the dealer and the manufacturer?
That's correct.
What about the warranty people, the extended warranty?
Well, you're not into the extended warranty. You're only at $32,000.
Okay, so the extended warranty covers after the...
I don't see. You're putting me in a very I don't know what you bought. I would never have bought an extended warranty from anyone other than the manufacturer, but you didn't get that. I don't know what that covers. Read your policy. But I think you said to me it picks up at 36,000 miles.
Okay, it doesn't say it picks up at 36,000 miles. It doesn't say that.
In that case, read your policy.
Okay, well, either case, the dealership or the manufacturer is responsible for it, right?
No, I don't know that to be true, no. The judge got to decide that.
Okay, so where do I go now?
You go to, I would think, small claims court.
I told the dealership to give me in writing that, what happened and why they're not going to fix it.
And did they?
Yeah, he gave me in writing, but he didn't give me the name of the person he talked to in the manufacturer.
But it doesn't matter. At this point, you're going to name the dealer, the manufacturer, and if the extended warranty you have is now in force and effect, you name them as well as defendants.
Okay, so what kind of attorney do I look in the yellow pages?
I don't think you need an attorney for this. You go to small claims court, you're going to show the judge what happened. You can have the mechanic come in. That there's no way that you could have removed the oil thing, although you just got through saying you check the oil yourself every 2 weeks. You could have left it off. I don't know the answer to that. But that's probably your best bet is small claims action. I do wish you well. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet.
Talknet, 1-800-743-8000.
Lawrence, Massachusetts. Welcome to my world.
Good evening, Bruce, and thank you very much for accepting my call.
You're very welcome. What's up?
I just started a limousine business here in Massachusetts.
Mm-hmm.
I just missed the phone book. The phone book just came out in October.
It happens.
And the limousine business is mainly advertised through the phone book.
Is that right?
With most people who want it, they go down the phone book and start inquiring.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing the brochures, pamphlets, knocking on doors type of thing to advertise. In your opinion, what would be the next step for advertising to get this business off the ground so it won't go...
Call your competitors.
Call my competitors.
Yep.
Yes, I've been doing that.
Take the overage and give them, they get a piece of the action in the overage.
Yeah, I've been trying that, but also for advertising, so people come to me right now to start off with the radio or...
I was about to point out that nasty little word. 5 letters, radio. Works. Radio really works. It does.
Okay.
Hey, you listen, don't you?
Yeah, I'm doing right now.
That's exactly the point I was trying to make.
I listen to the best. That's why I'm talking to you.
Well, I appreciate that. Radio reaches a lot of people. I suspect there are 2 or 3 different general categories of business that you're looking for. One is the business person going to an airport, that sort of thing, or going to a meeting. The second is people going out that just have the good sense to know they want to party a little bit but don't want to drive and party at the same time. And that spins off into the proms and all that sort of thing. And then there's the weddings and the funerals.
All the above.
Have you contacted all the funeral directors in the area?
I haven't yet because the funeral directors do not use the white stretches. And I have a white stretch.
That's all you got, huh?
Yeah, right now I'm just starting small, working to slow.
I understand. How about weddings?
Weddings, that's what I'm looking for right now.
Well, every time you ought to contact, you ought to be mailing everybody that has a wedding announcement in the newspaper.
What announcements in the newspaper? Okay, that's a good idea to go for. But I was also hitting the bridal shops and tuxedo shops.
Absolutely. Pay them a commission.
And to pay them a referral fee.
Yeah, well, finder's fee, commission, whatever.
Right. Because according to the IRS rules, it's referral fee. And
all right, that referral fee.
Yeah, that gets to me. I had to look for that very much. My attorney said, watch out for the referral fees.
Why?
Over a certain amount, you got to give him a 1099.
Well, that's true.
If you send him over $600, you got to give him a...
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
So we got to watch out for referral fees.
Okay.
But the little word of the radio would be the best bet to go for.
I think radio works, of course. And I think print works as well. I'm not saying... I would never tell anybody to put their entire ad budget in any one medium.
Just stretch it out as much as possible.
Well, it's not a question of stretching it out. You got to try and see what works for you.
Mm-hmm. My marketplace, I'm about 30 miles north of Boston.
Mm-hmm.
So,
are you going to compete in the Boston market?
I don't think I can compete in the Boston market. I'm not large enough to handle it.
I'll bet there'll be enough overage business in Boston. Overage, for those people who are eavesdropping. Guy has 5 limousines. He advertises. He's bound to get a call for a Saturday night when he doesn't have a car.
True.
And rather than turn it down, he'll turn it over to somebody like you.
True.